Welcome, everyone, to Southern Virginia University football. I'm Jim Bresnahan, joined by Art Furler, getting ready to bring you the Knights of Southern Virginia University and the Cougars of Kean in New Jersey Athletic Conference play. Home game number 3 of this 2015 season for the Knights, Art, who are coming off a very tough road loss to William Patterson, a game they took the lead in the fourth quarter, ended up losing that game, and it had to be a heartbreaker.
Yeah, I talked to Coach Walker this week about it, and he was very clear in the way he said it. He said, William Patterson has stolen 2 games from us in the last 2 years. He said, we had opportunities last week and just couldn't capitalize on them. As you mentioned, I think that game really stung a lot and really emphasized for them the need to make good decisions early and put themselves in a good situation. They led in the fourth quarter of that game. It's the first time they've really been hanging tough in a game that late in the game itself. I really think they have an opportunity today to do the same thing if they can make smart decisions early.
And the Knights are going to receive the opening kickoff. And you mentioned it, Art. On the one hand, a heartbreaking loss to William Patterson. On the other hand, the first real competitive game the Knights have played. They want to do some of the positive things they did last Saturday, do these the last couple of home games, not to mention their final road game coming up next Saturday.
Yeah, it's got to be encouraging. They scored more points last week than they have in any game this season. They have a smaller margin of loss. Lots of good things. That's not a great way to start, though. You could tell a little bit of indecision on where they were going with the ball that time as John Harris takes the kickoff.
Yeah, you started on the right side. It looks like the return was set up left side, but when he went to the left side, already ran into 3 or 4 Cougars from Kean. And so the Knights are not going to start in the best of shape in their first opening series here. It'll be inside their own 20.
Yeah, it's kind of been a theme throughout the season for the Knights is the skill players have really struggled because some of the front line, the blockers, have struggled. And so if the front line can do well, it'll really open up better opportunities for the running backs and the quarterback.
And Jacob Hatch gets the start at quarterback for the Knights. As they start at their own 17, he wants to throw on first down, hits Watts coming out of the backfield. And a good opening gain for the Knights. And the Knights want a penalty for hit out of bounds, but it looks like they're not going to get that penalty flag. It's going to be a good solid pickup of about 8 yards or so.
That's exactly what we were talking about, though. The Kean rushes 4. The Knights pick it up well, find that outlet pass. It's a great thing to get a quarterback a nice, easy first reception, get him in rhythm, and the Knights get a good gain.
Knights came in 0-6 in the conference, 0-7 overall. Kean 3-3 in the New Jersey Athletic Conference, 4-3 overall. Second down and short.
Very few in the box, but then they changed at the last minute.
Watts right side, hit by the cornerback, bounces off that tackle and goes to the 29 for a first down.
That's what I love about Jared Watts is he got that initial contact right at the line of scrimmage, but did not give up on the play, kept the legs churning, cut back on the inside a little bit, and then extends while keeping possession of that ball. Great job picking up that first down. Huge for the Knights.
And he's their leading rusher, averaging 3.4 yards a carry. Knights have been really trying to boost their rushing stats, Art. That has been a struggle for them offensively, trying to run for over 4 yards a carry.
Well, and things will spiral up or spiral down.
Nice
Good
reverse
hole.
direction by Watts that time.
Yeah, great adjustment by him. Also, great job opening up that gap by the offensive line. They've really, just in the first few plays today, done much better than we've seen them in recent history. That bodes very well for the Knights.
And you'd like to believe that William Patterson, even though it was a loss, they played well in stages against William Patterson on the road, and that might carry over to these final 3 games. Kean today, College of New Jersey, final road game next week, and then, of course, 2 weeks from today, the final game and the final home game of the season against Christopher Newport.
Yeah, it gives you some confidence when you can hang with teams.
Knights need 5 to get another first down. Draw play up the middle. They'll pick up about 3 that time on Watts' carry.
Yeah, very disciplined as well. We've seen throughout the season a struggle with the Knights not jumping on offense, and despite the hard count that time, it was a great job by everybody knowing the count, keeping firm until after it goes. It really helps to have the defense not know when it's going either, so it gives that opportunity, just that split second, that you have the advantage and gets the Knights a few extra yards.
And a big 3rd down and 2 coming up for the Knights, who really today, as they have in the past couple of games and probably all season long, they want to control the ball and control the clock as much as possible, Art.
Yeah, they've been loving this trips left formation.
3rd and 2, a little option play here. Hatch with a good decision. He gets the first down across the 40 up to the 44-yard line. Another first down for the Knights. Their second first down already in this football game.
Yeah, exactly as you said it. That's a perfect opportunity. Hatch seeing that opportunity to shovel pass it out, fakes it just a little bit to get the defender to bite on it, keeps it, and then is able to get the first down.
Hatch, the third quarterback that's been playing this season, Art. Earlier, of course, it was Honeycutt and Jensen. And now Hatch has been getting a lot of the playing time at quarterback here in the last couple of games on a 1st and 10 at the 44. Going to be Watts bouncing it outside. No, Hatch going to keep it, throw it, and he has his receiver, makes the catch at the 50 and into the Kean territory goes Burge to the 45-yard line. Good play fake there by the quarterback Hatch, and another first down for the Knights. That's their third first down.
Yeah, great sell on that. I was buying that's what it is. We've run that play a couple of times today already, and so that's exactly why you like that same formation, because you can then run the fake and open it up. And the Knights are moving the ball better than we've seen them do all season long.
Good mix of run and pass. First down Knights, 45 of the Cougars. And they've taken a little over 3 minutes off the clock already. This time Watts hit in the backfield and knocked down. May have picked up about a yard to the 44, and that's about all.
Yeah, it was just that one hand on him in the backfield, enough to slow him down and prevent him from cutting it, bouncing it to the outside. That's really all it takes to slow you down, break up that timing, and it gives the defense enough time to come back and adjust, which shut down what could have been a 3 or 4 yard gain and makes it only 1.
So second down, almost 10 to go for the Knights. Just inside the 45. Nathan Wilson split to the right, and Lorenzen split left.
Oh.
Screen pass. Watts makes the carry, and the catch gets to the 41, and he's down right there, picked up about 4, so it's 3rd and 6.
Great job by Watts that time. A lot of times you'll see running backs come out of the backfield, and they're so invested in getting to their spot that they don't look back. It was a good read by him to see there was penetration. There was a man immediately in the face of the quarterback. He had to be available earlier for that dump off. It's exactly what he did. Makes the catch and turns what could have been a sack and a big loss into a 4 yard gain.
Otherwise, that ball hits him in the back most likely.
Yeah, or falls incomplete.
So here we go, 3rd down 6. Knights have picked up several 3rd down plays on this drive. And trying to pick up another one. This is obviously could be 2 down territory for the Knights as well. And now a timeout going to be called.
Yeah, apparently didn't like what they were seeing from the defense that time. I think they actually had a little bit of an opportunity from the single coverage up top. Let's go back and look at that pitch play, though. That really prolonged this drive and shows, as you mentioned, Hatch just coming in as a freshman quarterback, but he's 6'3", 205. He's a big guy and is able to tuck and run a little bit, and that shows not only his ability to run, but the intelligence behind knowing when to run and when to get rid of the ball.
Hatch, by the way, has played in 4 games, counting this one. That's the 5th game he's played in this season.
So here's this replay. Oh, that's a different one. That's a single yard gain from Watts up the middle there. But we'll see if we can get that for you. But it's very difficult because you've got to make that decision so quickly and know that you're going to keep it, you have to read that defender. It's kind of that cat and mouse game to know which one he's going to bite on. And if you make the wrong decision, the worst case scenario isn't even that you get tackled. The worst case is that you wait too late to make the decision, you pitch, you fumble, and you give up the ball.
And what you really like about this drive is not only are the first downs being picked up, but they have taken nearly 5 minutes off the clock here, Art, in this first quarter so far.
Yeah, that's something the Knights have struggled to do as well. They've given way too much opportunity to their opponents to have time to make plays.
And this time it's going to be a running play to Watts, and he only picks up about 3 down at the 38. Now you've got a decision. It looks like maybe 4th and about 3 to go. Have to get to the 35. The ball's at the 38. Knights may have run that 4th or 3rd down play with the intent of trying to pick up 6 yards in 2 plays. And it looks like they're going to go for it on 4th down.
Yeah, it's a question of momentum right now because it's your first drive of the game. You've already moved the ball very well. The question is, do you punt and try to get it way back, or do you try to pick up the first down? And they're going to try to capitalize on what they've done so far today.
Watch out for Carroll, left side in the slot. And we've got movement. And it looked like maybe the left guard for the Knights might have jerked early, which would turn it into 4th and 9 and would definitely turn it into a punting situation for the Knights. And it looks like that's going to be the case.
Yeah, that makes that decision a lot easier, unfortunately, for the Knights. Frankly, it may end up being a blessing because if you end up not picking up that 4th down, then you give them better field position. So this may be a blessing in disguise for Southern Virginia. And also credit Kean on that one. They had 3 linebackers, really really up at the line, threatening, and so they were really trying to bait that early move.
Punt here for the Knights. Kessinger. Ames left side. Fair catch called for and made at the 16-yard line. So Kean's got the ball for the first time today. Knights on their opening drive, picking up several first downs and taking almost 5.5 minutes off the clock.
Yeah, you always want to come up with points on the board. There's no question about that, but the Knights should take a lot of heart from, as you mentioned, getting several first downs, moving the chains, putting Kean in a difficult situation as far as having them have a long field and taking a lot of clock. I would say that's a win on a first drive for the Knights.
Yeah, we'll see what the defense for the Knights can do. Charles App is the quarterback. He likes to run the ball, too. Corder, the tailback, he'll get the handoff and nice tackle, limiting that gain to maybe just a yard or two.
Yeah, open field tackle that time. Joshua Davis, the linebacker, coming in. Form tackling is going to be key for Southern Virginia today.
Kean without a huddle. Apt to throw. Hits his tight end Schmidt coming out of the backfield, and he runs his way up to around the 25-yard line.
Yeah, the Cougars that time doing essentially what the Knights do a lot, which is they run the play the first time, then they fake it on the second and go somewhere different. It worked for the Knights on their drive. It's now working for Kean on theirs.
And this no huddle might cause some problems. There's a fumble, and the running back Corder able to hang on to it. He bobbled it. Not sure if he ever got the ball cleanly, Arter, or if somebody maybe perhaps knocked that ball loose, but Kean fortunate to hang on to the football.
Yeah, moving too quickly, sometimes that can happen, and the Knights did a great job of getting into the backfield and breaking up that play.
2nd down and 10. Now it'll be App handing off to Corder again, hit from behind by Malore, knocked down. Malore wearing a different number as you see today, and that's going to be a short gain.
There's that form tackling we're talking about, because if Malore hits him and bounces off, nobody behind him, that's a much larger gain. But, of course, Sam Malore, the senior in there, he knows exactly what he needs to do.
3rd and 7. Apt to throw. Fires. Has his receiver. Bobbling catch made at the 30-yard line. Pass is pulled in by Hummery, and it's a first down, it looks like.
Yeah, Braden Barris in there on coverage. Not enough to get in and break it up, but doing what he needs to do to prevent a big gain. The Knights are kind of in a bend not break right now, but they're going to have to put their foot down at some point.
This is Corder again, the tailback. He squeezes through a little hole and darts his way across the 45 for, it looks like, about 6 yards to the 46.
So, and that's the difference between that play and a few ago where Sam Malore made that form tackle. Just a much bigger gain.
App throws right side off the hands of the tight end Schmidt. Threw it behind him. Now suddenly it is 3rd and 4 here coming up for Kean.
Well timed by Downing on that hit as well. As soon as he touches the ball, you don't have to give him anything. He touches it, you shove him out of bounds. Don't give him that chance to tip it to himself.
Really tough, Art, for a defense that hasn't seen a lot of no huddle to adjust to it, at least early on, I would imagine.
Oh, and not only is it no huddle, it is a very fast pace. I mean, they're playing tempo about as fast as you can.
Play action pass to the
Oh,
tight end, and Schmidt drops that one. If he hangs on, he most likely is able to get to the 50 and get a first down.
Yeah, hit him right in the numbers. That time the Kean quarterback going a little hard, though. Looks like he was concerned. He had 3 men in his face. Great job by the Southern Virginia defensive line to get in there and force an uncomfortable play.
And they had a couple of defenders around Schmidt, the tight end, and perhaps he actually was hearing footsteps when he dropped that football.
Oh, absolutely. The Knights defense really doing well so far today. The Knights in general. This is a much better team than we saw in their last home game.
That game against Montclair a few weeks ago. Here comes the punt. Upfield, angling away from Watts, and dead at the 9-yard line. So the Knights have it, but they've got it inside their own 10. This will be their second series, Art, and in both cases, they've started inside their own 20.
Well, I still think this is a wonderful thing for the Knights so far, though. If you look at games early in the season, the Knights have gotten shell-shocked very early. They've given up early scores, even when they've started with possession.
Yeah, you don't want to harp on these numbers too much, but 119-13 in the first quarter and 124-0 in the second quarter. That's so far today, but last week a different story, and here in the first quarter a different story.
Yeah, this is a much better start. We hope the Knights can continue to do that and just move the ball, get some confidence, let your quarterback get in the system in rhythm, and the longer you can keep the game close, the better.
John Harris, the new tailback, he gets it on first down, darts up the middle, good gain on first down, across the 10 up to around the 13 or 14-yard line, so he picks up at least 4, maybe 5.
Yeah, and that's all we have to do is a few yards every play, keep the ball moving in the right direction, because you gain confidence slowly over time as you feel like, hey, the Knights have to. They have to be aware that this season has not gone well for them. They have to be aware. They're constantly reminded of it being so difficult. So the better they can do early on here, it's much, much better for them.
And they want to keep that Kean offense off the field, picking up as many first downs as possible. Second and short, Harris breaks it outside, gets away from the cornerback momentarily, and then is knocked down to the 17-yard line, leaving the Knights about 2 yards shy of the first down marker.
Yeah, good gain on that. It was a good move. The other thing I'm really liking so far is it seemed like both John Harris on this drive and then earlier on Jared Watts on the previous one, they're really focused on running north and south a lot more, which is something the Knights have struggled with earlier in the season. Is they've not been looking to gain yards as much as they've kind of been moving side to side and waiting for a gap and ultimately things collapsing.
Here is where you really need to pick up a first down. You don't want to punt near your own goal line. See if they throw the ball on 3rd and 2. It's going to be that option play. Hatch will not get there. He's hit by a lineman, knocked down at the 16-yard line, and so the Knights are going to have to punt. And Kean ought to get the ball back in pretty good shape.
Yeah, that time, unfortunately, the Knights unable to capitalize. Looks like they might have been intentionally staying there long in the huddle with the idea they could come up to the line of scrimmage quickly and kind of catch Kean off guard, but it was not the case. I should also mention I had a conversation with Coach Walker this week. He said it is Halloween today. They're planning on some tricks and hoping to get treats out of them, so we'll see if we can get some fun plays in as well. Certainly not.
Kessinger barely got that punt off. It may have been hit. Very short kick. It's going to hit inside the 35, around the 31-yard line. I can't tell if he just rushed that, Art, or if someone actually got a hand on it.
Yeah, we'll get another look at that one. Not what you want that close to your own end zone. That gives a very, very short field to Kean.
That's going to be about a 14-yard kick.
Yeah, that's unfortunate and really not indicative of the Knights' ability to control field position so far today.
Kendall Kessinger, Art's got that running style on his punt. He may have actually run into someone's hand in that kick. So now Kean takes over. Good shape. This is Tyson Jones, the backup running back, and he weaves his way down to the 25-yard line.
Yeah, too many Knights getting contact on him before he actually goes down. It was a good job by him of extending that play, but the Knights have got to keep, especially on this short field, they've got to keep these distances short. And that's a false start, which will help the Knights both in distance, and also that kind of gives pause to Kean with the idea of running this tempo offense. That's one of the big things that counts against you, is it's so difficult to get everybody set.
So it's 2nd and 10 at the 30-yard line. App, play action. Quarterback wants to throw, fires.
Oh, good.
Nice defensive play there by the Knights. That was
Barris.
Barris hitting Schmidt. Schmidt, the tight end, is one of their top receivers, but now he's dropped for one reason or another, Art, 3 or 4 passes here in the first quarter.
And Barris justifiably striking a pose after that one. Perfectly timed.
3rd and 10. Could be 4-down territory, depending on what Kean does here from the 30-yard line. App.
Good rush.
Pressured.
Oh.
Gets away. Mallore's got him. Now he pitches the ball forward. I guess they're going to rule that a shovel pass, and it's going to go as an incomplete, although Malore had him wrapped up.
Yeah, and I think that's going to be a good holding call on that. Tough call for the Knights whether or not they decide to take this one.
All depends on the field goal kicker for Kean. It would be about if they declined the penalty, it would be about a 37-yard field goal. You take the penalty, push them back maybe.
But that still bodes very well for the Knights. You see holding penalties when defensive pressure is strong, and the Knights have really been getting after the quarterback very well today, forcing them to either hold or give up their quarterback, almost giving up a sack anyway.
So they declined the penalty. This would be about a 37-yarder if they go for the field goal.
Yeah, third and 20 versus 4th and 10 is a difficult call. You don't want to give them that extra chance.
They're going to go ahead and punt, it looks like.
Yeah, it'd be very interesting to see.
Ferlisi is out there from the 30-yard line. Kind of surprised they're ostensibly going to punt here, Art. Obviously, you want to try to pin deep inside the 10-yard line, but then again, you're at the 30. You only need 10 yards. I mean, at that point, what would be the harm of going for 4th and 10?
Yeah, it's a pretty long field goal attempt, certainly. So I understand them not doing that, but yeah, it's And that may very well be one of those strategic delay of game penalties.
Which you might actually decline because they want to
Right.
obviously go further back to try to pin you maybe inside your 5-yard line. Every
Right.
time they go back a little bit, makes it maybe, I guess, possibly a little easier.
Yep.
And for Lacey's kick.
Ooh, great job by the Knights getting up on that.
Fair catch called for and made at the 14 by Watts. Good play there by Watts. He had to really grab that ball because if he doesn't, it bounces and it's got 14 yards to go before it gets to the end zone. So most likely it would be inside the 10-yard line.
Yeah, some sure hands by Jared Watts. Remember, he's a running back. Most of the time or a lot of the time your return men are receivers because they're used to making that connection to the ball. That's a little more difficult, but great job, sure hands, adapting to that, getting underneath it, and preventing what could have been a disaster. The Knights end up with field position almost identically where they did last time.
Yeah, considering Kean had the ball at the 30, the Knights really come out of that very good shape.
Very impressive job by the Knights defense.
Now the rotation of running backs will send Lakeith Hopkins into the game, and he gets a decent carry on first down.
Yeah, just continuing to move that ball.
And we've seen this all season long. Watts, and then usually John Harris, and then over to Lakeith Hopkins, and then back around the top of the order, if you can call it that.
Yep, rotation, one back per drive has been the modus operandi for the Knights.
Going into the game this season, as we mentioned, Watts was averaging 3.4 a carry, Hopkins 3.1, John Harris 2.7. Gain of 3 that time. Ball at the 16, 2nd and 7 for the Knights. Hopkins again ran into his own fullback that time, kind of slowed him up, and he will go nowhere as he ran into the back of Mackay, the fullback, and that kind of threw that play off, and now the Knights are looking at 3rd down at about 7 to go.
Yeah, the Knights already looking a little more disjointed than they did earlier. Almost like they had a few set plays they were designed to do off the bat, which were really crisp. The Knights were really cohesive that way. Now things not looking quite so clean.
And the last 2 series have started inside their own 15-yard line. Much like the last series, they really need a first down pickup here to avoid punting the ball back to Kean in good field position. Pass over the middle. Pass is pulled in, but it's going to be a short gain. Only to the 20-yard line goes the receiver.
Yeah, Jacob Burge able to get his hands on that, but great job by Kean, the defender right behind him, allowing the slant to be caught, but not much after that.
And so again, Art, Kean expected to get the ball back here in pretty good shape.
Yeah, as you mentioned last time, that rugby-style punt is very difficult to pull off. It takes longer to develop time-wise, and therefore makes it easier to block.
Kessinger's last kick was 14. This time he runs left, boots it upfield, angling away from the return man. It hits inside the 40-yard line. Looks like it's going to be right at the 40. Kean last series started at the 30, so this time they start at the SVU 40.
Yeah, Southern Virginia not moving the ball as well in the last couple of drives, and Kessinger really uncharacteristically short on his punts today. It may be, again, that rugby-style punt. The advantage is it lets your team get downfield to prevent a long return.
Last punt was 14. That one was 20. Hand off to Quarter, up the middle, and he gets a good gain. He gets inside the 30 down to the 29-yard line, picks up a first down, 11-yard pickup for Quarter, their top running back.
Yeah, that's the difference of getting a hand on a guy and wrapping him up and bringing him down, is those yards after contact that Kean is now starting to pile up.
Going to be Quarter again, right side this time. Nice stutter step move. And he's dragging tacklers, breaks the tackle, gets to the goal line, and a touchdown as he was able to break the tackle of Christopher Owens, who stood him up around the 10-yard line but just could not bring him down. And Quarter gets the opening score for the ball game. Art, he's not a huge kid. He's 5'8", 190, but able to shake off the tacklers and score that touchdown.
Yeah, that's that form tackling difference again. You get a guy wrapped up. If he can drag you along with you, make him drag you. Don't walk with him. Don't help him out. And the Knights, unfortunately, giving up the first score.
Owens looked like he was looking for his help, but help never arrived before Quarter was able to shake off Christopher Owens and the extra point try.
Yeah, they're going to call a false start on Kean that time. Some movement on the right side of the line
So Kean will be backed up 5 yards for this extra point, leading 6-0.
Well, if you look at the statistics you were giving earlier, though, the Knights being outscored handily in the first quarter, even if they do make this ostensibly 7-0, not a huge difference, 6-0, but 2:21 left in the first quarter. That's not a bad start for the Knights.
Not at all. Just a matter of trying to get the offense going here as we near the second quarter, and suddenly 7-0, Kean on top here. And let's face it, the last couple of series, the Knights have started inside their own 20-yard line. And I think in all 3 series they have started inside their 20. The only difference would be in that first series of the game, they were able to pick up some first downs, get it into Kean territory. The last 2 series, no first downs, forced to punt. And Kean able to finally take advantage of the good field position and score first here with 2:21 to go first quarter.
Yeah, and a very, very volatile time now for the Knights. The big question is, what do you do now? You had a very good first drive, moved the ball down the field, didn't come away with points, but really pinned Kean back deep. Your defense then stepped up and stopped him. The offense sputtered on the last 2 drives. Do you now say we're down a touchdown and you lose that confidence and you start to fold? Or do they feel that sense of urgency and let it drive them even more and put points back on the board to tie it up? The way they deal with this will be very, very telling for how the rest of this game could go.
And we'll see if they go back to what really worked in that first series, a good mix of run and pass.
Also very true. We saw a lot less of that in the last couple of drives.
And again, field position might play into that. Short kickoff, fielded by the Knights. John Harris, and he is knocked down.
Yeah, still not a terrible return. The Knights start with better field position. And it also bodes well that the blocking of the front did well because Harris was able to receive it and then get a few yards before he had to make a decision, not a luxury he's been afforded at other times during the season.
Another thing the Knights want to avoid, they want to obviously get first downs, take it down the field, try to score and get back into this game and tie this game, Art. The one thing you don't want to do here as we near the end of this first quarter, down 7-0, is have any turnovers. The Knights have had problems this year with interceptions, I think especially.
Yeah, they're going to need some takeaways to win this game. They certainly can't afford to give many away.
And Hatch hands it off. No play action. Hatch to throw. He's going to throw this one away. The receiver, Lorenzen, was well covered, and Hatch himself was being pressured.
Yeah, great sell that time by Watts, really tucking the arms there, made it very difficult to see. Unfortunately, that time looked like he had some open space, so it's easy to go back and say woulda, coulda, shoulda, but in that case, perhaps a handoff would have worked out for him. But it's good to mix up. The more successful your pass game, the more it opens up your run game, and vice versa.
So 2nd down and 10 coming up here for the Knights. On 2nd and 10, this time they'll go with the running game. Watts bounces it outside, gang tackled, and knocked down.
Yeah, good pursuit angles taken by Kean. They're really doing
He thought
their
maybe there was a
responsibility.
face mask, I suppose, but have to go back and look at that. I know he was knocked down close to being out of bounds.
Yeah, Watts certainly not happy. Thought they got a face mask. There was one earlier in the quarter. I thought their argument could be made for it as well, but certainly the guy getting tackled knows better than anybody else whether his neck's getting wrenched by a hand in his face.
So the ball's at the 26. The Knights need about 8 yards or so for a first down.
Big 3rd down, Jim. Big 3rd down.
And Hatch to throw. Here comes the pressure. Screen pass, little inside screen. And the pass is pulled in. The ball pops loose. And it looks like Kean battling for it.
Umpire initially signaling Southern Virginia.
Nathan Wilson had it and got popped.
That was a little bit of a gimmick play, if you will, that the Knights play that time. We're going to pull up a replay of it here. So the offensive line essentially letting traffic through. There's the fumble on that. The Knights able to get back on top of it, but offensive line really allowing pressure to get through to the quarterback with the idea that you loft over the top of him and then get some blockers downfield.
So a big recovery by the Knights. They've got the first down at the 35-yard line, and whistles blow again.
Well, they should gain some momentum off that big 3rd down play. The question then is what illegal
12
substitution.
men on the field to call against the Knights. Breaking the huddle with 12.
Yeah, so we can't You have to take the positive momentum of getting that first down and not let the penalty shake you too much.
So 1st and 15 now for the Knights. They'll have to get to around the 45 to get a first down. Hatch handing it off to Watts, tries to cut it back, nowhere to go, and he'll lose about a yard or two. Just no holes there around the left side, and now the Knights are looking at a second down and almost 16 to go.
You know, one thing we've seen a lot so far today, Jim, is the Knights have designed plays where they've tried to run between the tackles, but they are regularly having to bounce it outside. And it's a great job by the running backs to be able to do that and move around and find gaps. But if the offensive line isn't able to create holes where the play is designed, it slows things down and really prevents that positive yardage.
Possibly the last play of the quarter. Hatch, quick pass over the middle to Carroll, makes the catch, gets to the 37-yard line, and gives the Knights a chance here on third down.
Yeah, held on to that one. You could tell it was a little bit low for him. He may have not had the best connection early on, but great job by Carroll to shore that one up and not drop it.
Just his 10th catch this season after what we saw last season from Michael Carroll. I'm sure they were expecting more than 10 catches, I guess, heading into game number 8 of the season.
That's true. I know there's been a bit of a two tight end system as well. Trevor coming in and playing a little bit more. He's a lot bigger of a guy, so they've been really using him as more of a blocking tight end. So it's a little bit of a difference in system. Last year,
yeah, he's only caught 4 this year. Yep.
Yeah, last year they really relied on Michael Carroll to make a lot of catches for him in a more of a passing game, but they've really benefited a lot from Trevor coming in and playing tight end, even though he's listed as a fullback. He's done a lot as far as opening up running lanes, whereas you're not going to call his name a lot for it, but really is a contributor that way.
Hey, let's salute Knights football supporter JJ's. Next time you're in Buena Vista or need a local event catered, you can stop by JJ's Meat Shack for the best barbecue in the state. Find JJ's at 1607 Magnolia Avenue in Buena Vista.
All you got to do is follow the smell, Jim. You get anywhere
and
in
the crowd,
area.
and the crowd.
Yeah, I'm every day I drive home, I get past there and it's like, oh my goodness, that smells good.
Big third down play coming up for the Knights. Trying to pick up their first down since the first series of the game. And another penalty flag. Hatch hit as he throws. Carroll makes the catch.
Oh, my goodness.
We'll see if the stands or not. Great play by Carroll down the sideline. You hope this is not some sort of illegal procedure call against the Knights, though.
Yeah.
That penalty flag flew very quickly before the start of the play.
Yeah, typically it's about the time you have an offsides. But what a great adjustment by Carroll.
It is offsides against Kean, so that play stands. Carroll making the play, and credit Hatch. He took a hit, it looked like, as he threw that football.
Well, and a smart play by Hatch as well. We'll see right here. Hatch takes it, sees the flag, knows I got a free play here.
Takes
decides
a hit
to air
as he
it out.
throws, yep.
And great adjustment.
Yep.
That could have easily been a hold on the defense as well, or pass interference. But great adjustment by Carroll to make that catch, and then yards after. Great job.
And now the Knights will go back to the ground game with Watts. Good stutter step move, but he ends up picking up about 2 as the Knights are bidding here early in the second quarter to maybe tie this game after the big pass play to Carroll. I was about to say that Carroll, at times last year, the Guilford game obviously especially comes to mind, doesn't really operate as a tight end as much as a fantastic wideout.
He really does. He's got soft hands. He's a great route runner, and you can see that time makes great adjustments.
And you can just see by the physique, he looks more like a split end than perhaps a tight end.
That's true. Very true. So 2nd and 9, the Knights really driving. Need to put points on the board.
Let's see if they go with play action here. And the ball hits off a Hatch.
Oh, no.
And Kean is able to dive on it when Hatch and Watts tried to each pick up the football and kind of prevented the other guy from recovering the fumble, and Kean recovers it instead.
Well, and I think that's just overzealousness by the Knights offense, because what they teach you is in that scenario, if the ball hits the ground and guys are coming, just fall on it.
Yeah, and it looked like both players, at least maybe Hatch, the quarterback, especially if he was going to throw that football, thought, oh, I'll pick it up and still make the play.
Yeah, and that's something that you see as a freshman. That in a lot of ways he's been mature today. That's just one of those things. Give up the play, don't give up possession.
So the Knights, on their best drive of the football game, fumble the football. We talked about avoiding turnovers, and now back to the ground game. It is quarter, short game. He is hit and stymied as he only picked up about a yard or two. Nice defensive play by Braxton Hale.
Yeah, freshman linebacker from West Haven, Utah, making his presence felt on that play.
Second down, and quarter, left side, stutter step move, and he works his way to the 37 as he picks up about 3. That time Wyatt Downing coming up and making the play.
Yeah, this hurry-up offense really testing the Knights. So far, so good, but they've got 3rd and 5. If they can get a stop here, that'd be a huge momentum shift.
Half the quarterback, slows it down a little bit, turns, hands it off to the backup running back, and he is hit and dragged down. Nice defensive play that time by Watterson, coming up and putting the hit on Kyrie Tyson Jones to force a Kean punt.
Yeah, Braxton Hale getting into the back field, slowing things down as well. Would have loved to see a hit for a loss, but anything that'll slow things down until help can come is better than nothing.
Well, you got to credit this SVU defense. They've only allowed 1 score so far in the first half, and McCain had the ball at one point at the SVU 30 starting a drive, and right after that, the SVU 40. Now here comes the Kean punt. Nice high kick.
Punt.
Watts running catch, makes the catch, and darts upfield at the 37-yard line.
Yeah, great job by him, seeing an opportunity, not just calling the fair catch, but willing to put his body on the line a little bit, catch it despite players with ill intentions around him, and able to pick up a few more. It's those extra efforts, that few yards here and there, that can really make a difference in a ball game.
So it looks like John Harris most likely will come out at tailback as the Knights will start this drive at their own 37-yard line. And we'll see what the Knights can do on this drive. Again, only trailing here by 7.
Well, that last drive should give them a lot of hope, a lot of confidence, because they were really moving the ball well until just that one mistake with the snap.
Harris out there at tailback, and he will get the carry. Nothing inside, and he's knocked down for maybe a yard gain. As you mentioned, Art, they're having a hard time running straight up the field or off guard.
Boy, some hands on the helmet there too. There's been some very questionable efforts, I would say, by the Kean defense, really getting hands to the face. I know, as we mentioned earlier, Watt's worried about face mask. It has not been particularly kind, I'll say.
Only about a yard pickup, so it's 2nd down 9 for the Knights. 37-yard line. Low snap back to Hatch. He throws over the middle, and it's almost intercepted. It was almost picked up by Austin Davis. And it looked like that was a low snap back to center. Art maybe threw that play off a little bit, and then Hatch just led his receiver too much, to the point that the only player that had a shot at that ball was the Cougar defender.
Yeah, play before that as well. The snap was low. It was a good adjustment by Hatch to corral it and get it to his running back. Really not syncing up well so far, the center and the quarterback for the Knights.
Another big 3rd down play for the Knights, trying to hold on to the football. Back to pass goes Hatch. It's a blitz. Screen pass. Nathan Wilson makes the catch, and he's hit down and knocked down solidly. A good, solid tackle by Vaughn Scott, defensive back, coming up and making the play on Nathan Wilson.
So we'll see if we can get another look at that one. That's that same design play that the Knights do, where they intentionally let the line through and have the offensive line release so that they can get down for additional blocking. The problem is, so you can see right there, the Knights' offensive line goes one way and the receiver goes the other. Unfortunately, that kind of negates the benefit of having those extra blockers available.
And here comes the Kessinger punt. They're pouring in trying to block that punt, but he is able to get it away. Fair catch called for, and made a dangerous fair catch by the Kean player, Damian Corder, coming up, tailback and also special teams player. And, boy, he made that catch in a crowd, Art.
Yeah, it was a better kick that time, certainly, by Kessinger. And, as you mentioned, very, very dangerous, because you call a fair catch and touch that ball and don't catch it cleanly, and it is open season on you.
Instead, he makes the fair catch and gives his team pretty decent field position, 45-yard line for the Cougars. They've been doing a lot of their damage on the ground, and they go on the ground again. It's Quarter up the middle, big hole, and he is all the way inside the Knights 40. Picks up about 18 yards on that carry.
Well, and this is where that hurry-up offense can really start to hurt you, because you have big plays like that, and you can see the Knights defense trying to adjust, trying to get their calls in, but just not a lot of time to do it.
And Kyrie Tyson-Jones bounces off a tackle, and then is gang tackled for a loss. Several Knights making the play right there, including, I think, Bokatoa and possibly Morgan Smith coming up as well.
Yep. Great job getting penetration in there, and as you mentioned, bouncing off. You never want to see that in the backfield, but the Knights able to, not with the first attempt or even the second, but the third line of defenders getting in and bringing them down.
And the quarterback fires a pass and has his receiver at the 35-yard line as Kadir Johnson makes the catch.
Yeah,
Kean just trying to set up this third down play here.
Braden Barris able to get a handful of jersey after the catch and slow him down. It's a great job, especially after that fake to the left and then coming back to the right.
Third down, about 8 to go. Quarterback, App, rolls left. Now he's going to run for it, and he's got the first down easily, and finally darts out of bounds around the 24-yard line.
It's a good block by the running back that time by Kean to buy more time for his quarterback.
And Kean's got it first down, 23 of the Knights. Here's Tyson-Jones up the middle, and he works his way inside the 20, and he's close to the 17-yard line. Gain of about 6.
Southern Virginia defense trying to keep up at this point.
They've been out there a lot of this first half, Art, and it may be wearing them out a little bit. Here is Quarter, left side. He bounces it outside. Is hit from behind, dragged down.
Yeah.
Nice defensive play by the Knights. Making that play was Blackham.
Not giving up on that one. The pursuit angle from behind, very easy to say, you know what, I'm not going to catch him in a foot race. He can outrun me, but the rest of the team helping out, let him catch up. Great job by him. And
App, the quarterback, straight ahead for the first down. And so Kean will have a first down near the Knights' 12 or 13-yard line, leading here 7-0.
And just right back in formation.
Let's see if they throw here.
Yeah, they're going to have to call a timeout. And it looks like Coach Walker does exactly that. Didn't have trying to get substitution players on and off the field. The offense does not have to allow the defense time to get players in unless they substitute themselves. And so it was a smart play to have that immediate quarterback sneak.
You saw App, the quarterback, celebrating like a kind of a mini victory there, forcing the Knights to take that timeout.
Yep, very true. And it's good that it's good if you're Kean to force that, but it's also good for the Knights to give your team a little bit of a breather, a little bit of time to get back in.
Yeah, because we're at one of those critical stages of the game here. If you allow Kean to score again, suddenly it's a 14-point lead as you near halftime. You know, the Knights had that opening series where they moved the football very well, had the big pass play to Carroll, but right after that play, they fumbled the football away. The Knights have been into Kean territory twice here in the first half. There's no points to show for it.
Yeah, it's just a few of those mistakes that are so critical. The fumble, a couple of short punts. It's the Knights really leaning heavily on their defense to make up for some mistakes made by the kicking team in the offense, and they're doing their best and really an admirable effort so far. As you mentioned, only giving up 7, but they're going to have to stop making these mistakes. They cannot continue to ask this of the defense.
Tyson-Jones, the running back, he gets the carry, and he's sandwiched and knocked down for a loss.
And that right there is the difference between having a team having to constantly try to get the call in, get your right personnel into position so quickly, and after a timeout, setting your defense and knowing what you're doing. The Knights on that time able to make a great stop.
Second down, App to throw, rolls right, looks into the end zone, fires, open receiver, touchdown. That is Kadir Johnson again making the catch. And Kean's up that lead to 13 now.
It's a good fake, and because Kean's been running so many run plays and faking that ball, the Knights bid on the run that time, and unfortunately that fake caught them off guard, able to find an open man.
And so now the Knights down by 13 as we close in on halftime. 8:46 to go till half. Cougars extra point try, and it is now a 14-point Kean lead.
Well, I mentioned after the first score it was going to be really critical to see how the Knights reacted, and I think they did well. They moved the ball well on that first possession until the mistake. The defense held several times after that, so despite giving up 7 points, subsequent to that, the Knights unable to answer. I still think overall it was a good answer. Now the question is, you've got a second touchdown that's piled up on you. How to react again? Because the last thing you want to do is get down on yourselves and feel like you're out of the game, especially this early on. There's a lot of football left to be played today, but everybody on that team has got to keep their heads up and keep fighting like they know they can come back in this, because if not, then it'll be a self-fulfilling prophecy, and you can't be.
And the Knights would love to get on the scoreboard. The one thing they don't want to do is allow Kean to score again before halftime. And let's face it, I mean, the Cougars have really been assisted by some great field position. They had the ball at the 30 to start once, at the SVU 30, the SVU 40. That time, Art, they started at their own 45. So they've really had the field position battle won so far here in the first half, as John Harris, again, starts on the right side, goes to the left side, late flag.
Yeah, once again, it's that side to side, not willing to commit to get upfield, unfortunately.
And we'll see who the penalty's against, which, if it's against the Knights, which it is, they're going to even start a little closer to their goal line.
It's really just been a few big plays that the Knights have given up defensively. They've held well generally, and it's really just been a few big plays offensively that have
if you're looking
gotten
for maybe one play that has really stood out that has been damaging to the Knights, it was that fumble. It was 7-0. The Knights had the drive going, and maybe they tied the game, maybe they don't. But, I mean, that really separated things. It allowed Kean to take the ball. Now they've, instead of got a one-score lead, they got a two-score lead.
Yeah, right after that huge emotional pickup of the catch by Carroll to pick up the long 3rd and 8 to get first down. You're absolutely right. Both from a statistical standpoint as well as from an emotional standpoint.
And the Knights are going to start this drive inside their own 8. It's Lakeith Hopkins, short gain. We've talked about the Cougars starting at the SVU 30, at the SVU 40, at their own 45. The Knights have started inside their own 20, I believe, on all their drives today.
I think you're right, Jim. And starting field position, it's so key, because how far do you have to go to get points? And when it's a long way,
how many first downs do you have to pick up?
Exactly,
too, you know?
Exactly. And also that pressure has to be there of how, even if we get a punt, considering we've struggled punts, how short we make their field.
Ball around the 10-yard line. Hatch to throw. Has his receiver Wilson bumped to the ground immediately. Picked up about 6 to the 16-yard line. If you get a ball control offense like the Knights are hoping to have today, obviously you'd love to have the ball maybe start around your own 40 or 45 and only have to pick up 3, 4, 5 first downs, as opposed to start at your own 9-yard line and maybe have to pick up 6 or 7 first downs.
Well, and you look at the second-order effects of that as well, is the defense then says, if you start from here, we have to rely on our offense to get a lot of yards. Otherwise, we've got our backs against the wall.
Another big 3rd down play for the Knights at the 16-yard line. Hatch to throw, pressured, hit, and dropped for a sack, and the Knights are going to have to punt from their own end zone. The blocking simply broke down, and Hatch never really had time to look for a receiver. He was scrambling for his life.
Yep, Kean brought the house, and the Knights just unable to block match up and get the blocking necessary to maintain that pocket.
Well, first and foremost, the Knights are going to have a good punt here.
First and foremost, they got to have a good snap here.
That too. Yeah.
second, they've got to get a good punt.
And blocking.
Yep.
And here comes the
good
kick
snap.
From in the end zone. It's a very short kick off the side of the foot. Takes a great roll. It is picked up on the dead run by Corder, and a risky move there by Corder for Kean, but he's able to get it ahead a few yards.
Well, I'll give a 9 out of 10 on that snap, and 6 or 7 on the blocking. But yeah, I don't know what, as you mentioned, off the side of the foot, but a very short punt.
Got about a 10 to 15-yard roll, but unfortunately it kind of rolled straight ahead and allowed Corder to, even though it was kind of risky, to return it 5 or 6 yards.
So speaking of field position now, only 30 yards to go for Kean, puts that Knight defense in a very difficult position again. That squad asking a lot of this starting defense.
Tyson Jones, the running back, and he is hit and dragged down. Good defensive play by Joshua Davis, among others, to make the stop. So Kean has started at the SVU 30, the SVU 40, this time the SVU 30, their own 45. They really have had the ball in great starting field position almost every time they've had it.
Yeah, the Knights do well on first down pretty regularly.
Receiver open, makes the catch in the end zone, and that is the tight end, Tyler Hopman, making the grab, and he was able to make that catch over Bergman as Bergman turned around at the last second, but boy, what a catch by Hopman.
Yeah, that was just a perfectly thrown ball and a great effort by the receiver, Bergman, unable to break it up. That's just a difficult row to hoe to have that immediately thrown back in your face, because now the offense, which sputtered on that last drive, has to go right back out there and try to put something together.
Couple of quick scores by Kean. Suddenly it's potentially a 21-0 game, and we talked about this game turning on that Knights fumble. It was 7-0. Knights were driving. A few minutes later, Art, it's now potentially 21-0. And the kick sails up and through, and it is 21-0 Cougars now.
In a very short period of time, too. It was 7-0 at the end of the first quarter, and then it's only been 8 minutes and change into the second. They've already doubled up on that. And as we get a shot of the Knights sideline there, not a lot of energy, not a lot of people trying to get each other up.
Well, I know you talked before the game, Art, that the second quarter of all the quarters this season has been perhaps the one that is most unkind to the Knights. They've yet to score in a second quarter throughout this 2015 season.
Yeah, that's true, and I think a lot of that is because they've been beaten up so badly in the first quarter. It's that time where you're starting to realize that things are difficult, realize what you still have to do to win the game, and it may be sinking in. It's before second or halftime where the coach can come in and walk you through, here's the plan, here's how we're going to get back in it, here's how we're going to stop the bleeding. And the Knights really just have struggled in the second quarter and continuing to do so today.
Tough for the Knights. They've just had the one turnover, but it was a huge turnover. But it's really tough for the Knights to overcome this field position, the poor field position they have been stuck with, and the fantastic starting field position that Kean has been blessed with.
See if the Knights can commit to a path and take it. So now up this left sideline.
And Harris will stick with the left sideline or right sideline.
Oh,
and he's
my
a face
goodness.
mask. That one,
Holy.
That one draws 2 or 3 flags. That one was a jerk your face back, and you hope that John's okay. But
yeah, he is down after that. That was.
And he is getting up, amazingly getting up under his own power. It was a good return, first of all, and that one almost. I know you don't see too many ejections on face masks, but if there ever was an ejection, that one might warrant it.
Holy cow! Well, so definitely the face mask, obviously the penalty on that one. But let's talk as well. I said just as that kickoff was going, let's see if we can commit to a direction and stay on it, and he did. So it was a heck of a return long before anybody got a piece of the face mask there.
And you hope that he's okay and will be able to go back in on the tailback rotation when his turn comes.
Yeah.
I think Jared Watts is out there right now.
So all the way up to the 45-yard line, and then the penalty tacked on will give him the 45 in Cougar territory. You've been talking about starting field position. Can't ask for more than that.
Knights really have to take advantage of this and score points, I think, on this series as Hatch play action wants to throw right sideline, going out there for Wilson. Oh, just off his fingertips. Defender had a shot at it, and then Wilson, falling to the ground at the 5-yard line, almost pulled it in.
Yeah, put the ball close to where it needed to be, and that's not a good sign to see a receiver come in with an arm hanging like that. That's typically indicative of a shoulder injury. And there's a flag as well. Looked like a shot on the quarterback. We'll see if it's roughing. Could also be in the area of holding.
Couple of fouls here. So you got roughing the passer and holding. You said potentially, and you got them both right.
Hey, what do you know? Yeah, that's.
And unfortunately, they're offsetting. Actually, fortunately, I suppose, because it was an incomplete pass and it's a do-over for the Knights.
Yeah, that's true. In that way, it does cut in the Knights' favor, and I'm glad to see the refs. I mean,
They got to put that ball back at the 45, not the 50 now.
Yeah, but they had no choice but to call the face mask on the last play, and certainly there's been several of those so far today.
Maybe they start looking for that, and maybe we'll see a few more. But right now, I think
Hatch had taken a knee there, and he looks like he's coming off.
Yeah, again, roughing the passer was the call, so we'll see if he comes out, if maybe Honeycutt or Jensen perhaps, or another quarterback goes into the game. Hate to see Hatch
that's
come out of the game like this.
That's why I was reluctant to say it cuts in the favor of the Knights, that it's offsetting, because holding is one thing, but holding doesn't have a huge impact on the rest of the game necessarily. But roughing the passer, especially if we lose a quarterback over it, that has a dramatic impact. You're not going to hurt a guy holding, but boy, if that roughing the passer took out a quarterback, I'm sorry, I've been very disappointed with some of the shots taken so far by Kean and some of the just unsportsmanlike play, whether it's called unsportsmanlike conduct or not.
Yeah, you've had a couple of players, the Knights, banged up here, walking off the field under their own power. Hatch and, of course, John Harris on the face mask, but looks like it's going to be Honeycutt going into the game at quarterback as the Knights are trying to score here before halftime.
Well, it's a very difficult thing for a quarterback to come in mid-system. He does have great field position to start off. It is a 1st and 10, so he's got a little bit of a time to get acclimated on the field, but still basically sitting for those reps and not a scheduled substitution. He hasn't been taking reps warming up on the sideline.
Left-handed sophomore, Honeycutt from the 45. Hands it off to Watts. Another flag down. Watts thought maybe he got face maxed again.
And that's the call that the line judge is signifying there.
It is another face mask on Kean.
I'm glad they're calling this, though, because
finally
you've got to get control of this early, because all you do by not throwing that flag is you send the message, well, that's not enough to get a call.
And you hope this is not the way Kean tackles.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, but it sends that message. You've got to be careful about it, because we're going to call it. Because if the last play was insufficient, well, then they do a little more and a little more and a little more. And it's frankly shame on the team a little bit, but also shame on the referees, because the teams will adjust to whatever you're calling. And so they're trying to feel out what's appropriate and what's not.
Another big 15-yard penalty against Kean. Here is Watts again over the right side, and he gets about 3 that time, close to the 27-yard line.
So this is a situation where the Knights really have to capitalize. They had a great return that's been aided by a couple of penalties. Yes, they've had their starting quarterback come out, but it's not like Honeycutt hasn't gotten a lot of reps throughout the season. He's a capable quarterback, as we have. So the Knights, really lots of things going in their favor at this point. Have to capitalize on that momentum on this drive.
2nd down and 7, although I would imagine at this stage we are looking at 4-down territory.
I would think so, yeah.
And Hatch wants to throw, fires, and he threw an interception.
And
pass
coming
is
out
picked
of
off
the
at the
end
1 or
zone.
2 yard line is Vaughn Scott. And we've talked about interceptions, Art, being a problem. That is Honeycutt's 9th interception thrown this season. And that one just simply over the head of the receiver, right to where the defender was.
Yeah, just not a smart decision, unfortunately. Looking to try to squeeze something in, trying to force a play. And unfortunately, that's the result.
So that's twice now the Knights here in the first half have had the football around the Kean 30 and have had turnovers occur. One, a fumble, another interception.
Yeah, it does cut in the favor of the Knights, though. Not a smart call by that safety to step out of the end zone with it. Now on the 1, the Knights, I imagine, are going to come hard, try to get a safety. And there's a penalty. Flag down after a gain of about 4. Katoa on the tackle and holding.
You won't get much out of that. They'll take it, obviously, but to wipe out a 3 or 4 yard pickup. But it'll probably move the ball from the 2 to the 1. So.
Yeah, or the 1 to the half yard, whatever that is. But you're right. But it does negate a few yards on a good gain that time. Very difficult to run an offense knowing that by the time your quarterback gets the ball, he's already in his own end zone.
And now the Knights really have a chance here, unless you don't want to give up a big pass play. But
and it is on the half yard line.
You wonder if the Knights will come with a blitz and try to hit the ball carrier, provided they're going to go with the running play, maybe in the backfield. Maybe the way the Knights will break onto the scoreboard today will be the defense with the safety.
Could be. Risky situation for both teams, frankly. It's very...
Got to look out for the pass play, too, here.
Yeah, very much so.
Don't want to give up a 99-yard pass play as App wants to throw.
He's got time.
And
for the moment.
Now he's going to run out of the end zone and get to the 4-yard line. Good decision by the quarterback to get out of the end zone and finally pick up a couple of yards.
Yeah, good pursuit, though. When a quarterback has that long to throw the football and decides to run it, that is a huge compliment to the secondary, because that's saying he's got nowhere to go with it. So good job by a struggling Knights secondary that time to cover up.
Second down, running play up the middle. And Tyson Jones on the carry. Got up to around almost the 9, which will leave Kean looking at a third and short. Third and about 2 to go.
Yeah, this is a big third down for the Knights as well. Clock rolling, less than 4 minutes here. Kean could take up the entire clock with this drive, but if you get a stop here, it's plenty of time for the Knights to come back.
And you should have the ball in pretty good field position. Don't want to have an offsides here on 3rd and 2. Now we've got movement.
There's motion. And you can see a big effort by Bill Katoa to bait that one, and he was very happy to see it.
So illegal procedure on Kean. Moves them back 5 yards and turns it into almost a 3rd and 8. And again, Art, you're talking about the clock here, but again, if you can stop him here on 3rd down, you really ought to get the ball back inside the 40-yard line of Kean and have another shot at it before halftime to get on the scoreboard.
Yeah, and that closes a lot of options in the playbook to go from 3rd and 3 to 3rd and 8. That is a very more manageable defensive situation.
App wants to throw, has his receiver, but the defender right there to make the play for the Knights.
Great coverage, my goodness. Heroic effort. Sammy Davis staying right on top of him, not letting him get away, because if he doesn't make that tackle, easily he can pick up the first down.
And now the Knights have a choice here. Go for a block kick or set up for the return. Kean will be punting from its own end zone. I would imagine they'll set up for the return, Art.
I think so.
Hoping to score before halftime, hoping to knock this lead down to 14. Low snap. And they block it! And it's going to be fielded in the end zone for a score for the Knights. Touchdown. And that was Tristan Burnett getting in there and making the play and saving that ball before it rolled out for what would have been a safety instead.
And the Knights so excited, as they should be. Look at that. Able to score on defense, helping the offense out.
I'm not really sure they came after the block as much as it was a bad snap, and Burnett was able to get in there, and I saved that ball literally by inches before it rolled out of the end zone, Art.
And not giving up on it, boy. And look at the emotion on the sideline now for the Knights. Looks like there is going to be... No foul. Looked like there was going to be. Let's go ahead and pull up the replay of that. And here's the snap. As you mentioned, it is low, but huge effort getting in there. That's Tristan Burnett.
Coming right up the middle. He blocked it, and he recovered it for 6.
So that's a kicker blocking a kicker. You don't see that terribly often. But what an injection of an emotion for the Knights, and now breaking the snapping the streak of not scoring in the second quarter so far this season.
And as you saw, they really didn't come with an all-out blitz trying to block that kick, Art. It was the bad snap that allowed, if that's a good snap, the punter's able to get that away. But the bad snap really threw things off and allowed Burnett to come straight up the middle, block it, and somehow get to the ball before it rolled out of the end zone.
Oh, absolutely, because that's the difference between 2 and 7 points.
And now the Knights with the extra point try.
Okay, between 2 and 6 points.
Blocked. Kean's going to try to run this one back. And
that's a forward pass.
It was a forward pass.
Yeah, they got him.
And they finally make that call. So it's 21-6.
And it's still scrumming along, but it's not going to go. That forward pass is coming back.
Yeah, it better.
Clearly, you can put your hands down, guys. That was very clearly a forward pass. That's not going to happen.
So 21-6 here's the score. 2:52 to go till halftime.
So you can see a referee there with his hat off as well. So that means he's got a second. If you throw your flag and you see another penalty, you take your hat off and you throw that. That's indicative of that. So there's a real good chance that one's coming back.
2:52 to go. With the Canes' no-huddle offense, you got to respect their chances of trying to score before halftime. But still, if you can stop them, and especially if you can get maybe a turnover and try to score again before halftime at 21-6. So the penalty decline. Again, the kick no good, and so the Knights are only down now by 15.
Yeah, that's a big momentum swing, especially if the Knights can prevent Kean from getting in another time before the half. Then you're heading in having made the most recent score, having done so in a very exciting, emotional way on that block. And really, this reminds me a lot of the Southern Virginia squad of a couple of years ago, where defense created offense and really was able to inject some life into the team, get some excitement, see some points get up on board.
I'm drawing a blank on the name right now of I think it was a defensive back who blocked 2 kicks and returned them for a touchdown.
That wasn't Justin Gonzalez, was it?
I think it was, yeah. Justin Gonzalez, yeah. And I know in talking with Delane Fitzgerald, that was, 3-4 years ago, where Justin had scored like twice in September and thought he was going to score every game for the remainder of the season.
Yeah, so if this average continues, then, we'll keep it up. But, 2:52 now. The Knights, if this defense can hold, what a huge bump going into the locker room.
Yeah, you'd love to get a turnover. I would imagine Kean with 2:52 to go in that quick strike and no-huddle offense will take a shot downfield.
Let's not forget as well the good return here
Corder,
by Kean.
Up to the 30. And he gets almost to the 40-yard line before he steps out of bounds.
Yeah, it's a good return that time by Kean. But I was going to say, let's not forget, Kean does get the ball at the half as well.
Right.
So if they were able to put one in here and then immediately get the ball back at the beginning of the second half, that'd be very difficult.
Yeah, so the Knights really need a big defensive stand here. Can't allow any points before halftime, and they want to maintain that possession, the momentum that they were able to get with Tristan Burnett's block punt and recovering that ball in the end zone for the first points today for the Knights. From the 40-yard line. And again, good starting field position for the Cougars. And that pass, uncharacteristically by App, threw it over the head of Hopman. And he was wide open, Art, at the 50-yard line, but the quarterback App simply overthrew him.
Yeah, App under a little bit of duress as well, despite the Knights only rushing 4. That does stop the clock, though, and preserve some time as Kean on this drive, though they are not going quite as quick in their hurry-up offense.
2nd and 10. Knights would love to get a turnover here, maybe an interception. It's going to be the ground game, and Corder bumped into his own blocker and then goes down right away for maybe a 2-yard pickup as the Knights get a nice defensive play by Stockton Hyatt.
Yeah, the Knights rush 6 that time, and able to get the pressure necessary to slow things down and then get the big hit on Hyatt. Brings up a very long 3rd down.
Knights would love to get an interception here. Back to pass goes App. Screen
pass
pass knocked into the air, and it's almost intercepted by Hyatt, I believe. Hyatt had a chance as he fell to the ground. That ball thrown by the quarterback, batted up in the air, and almost picked off by the Knights, almost getting that interception we talked about.
Yeah, well, and talk about being under duress. We're going to look at this again. Look at that.
It was Sam Malore batting it in the air.
Gentlemen, who'd have thunk? Great job.
Hyatt almost was able to grab that.
Yeah, penetration in there. Boy, and that's exactly what I'm talking about. You get some points on the board, you make a big play, and all of a sudden you feel invincible. And the Knights defense really stepping it up.
Here comes the punt. Watts at the 20-yard line, looking for a good return. Breaks a tackle. Shifts that ball to his left arm and gets to the 30-yard line.
Keeps those legs driving.
And to the 32. And so the Knights will have it at the 32-yard line. Now the question becomes from their own 32 with a minute 45 to go. Do they take a few shots downfield?
Well, one timeout. Kean has 3. So if we do go to the air and don't get completions, that could quickly go the other way, and Kean would still have enough time to complete a drive, particularly since they are so fond of this hurry-up offense. But that return was Jared Watts to a T. It's let's try to do what we set up to do. Nope, not going to work. Great. I'm going to bounce here. Oh, there's a guy there. Going to keep going, and those legs do not stop.
Amazing the way Burnett's block punt and recovery for a touchdown has really set this team on fire emotionally.
Yep. It's such an energizing thing. You start believing in yourself, believing in your team, and it can change everything.
Honeycutt, 32-yard line, throwing up the right side. No one out there. Must have been either some miscommunication between the receiver, Lorenzen, and the quarterback, Honeycutt. Lorenzen kind of broke off his pattern a little bit, and Honeycutt threw it over his head to the right sideline.
Yeah, it could have been Jimerson there, the defensive back in coverage, could have given him a shot at the line of scrimmage, kind of jammed him and threw off the timing, because that didn't look like really didn't look like Honeycutt looked over at as much as he was just basing it on the timing of that route.
And so now 2nd down and 10. Still enough time, minute 40 to go. Honeycutt, option play, pitches the ball. Hopkins going to have a short gain that time, maybe 3 or 4 at best.
Yeah, it was a smart pitch. He had no room to run it himself, and it was also a good job corralling kind of an off snap again, really having a difficult time between our centers and quarterback having smooth transitions of snapping the ball.
So now 3rd down, 8 to go. Knights will have to get to almost the 41-yard line to keep this drive going.
Lots of guys up in the box there for Kean.
And here they come on a blitz. Little swing pass over to Hopkins. He's got some room out there, and he ran away from the 1st down marker to get out of bounds. He ran to the 40-yard line. If he runs straight upfield, he'll stay in bounds, but he would have got to the 45, maybe the 50. But he ran sideways and missed the 1st down marker by a good solid yard.
Yeah, game awareness, situation awareness, so critical right there. You have to get the 1st down.
Couldn't figure that one out. He was only about a yard or 2 away from the 1st down marker and then ran sideways to get out of bounds. I understand the need to stop the clock, but, man, you got to pick up the 1st down first.
Yeah, you know what also stops the clock? Getting the 1st down. So it stops till they move the chains.
Yep.
You've got a timeout. Now you preserve time on the clock, but you preserved it for the other team.
Critical mistake there, especially when it looked like he had a good head of steam and could have at least an extra 5 yards heading straight up the field, maybe 10.
Not to mention, you break a tackle, you get a good block, that could go to the house. There are situations where it is absolutely
You're only maybe another broken tackle away.
Yep. There are situations where it's absolutely imperative that you get out of bounds and stop the clock. I understand that. That was not one of them. That was job 1 is get the 1st down. On 3rd and long, it has to be.
Well, here on 4th and 1, you could obviously go for it. If you don't make it, you really give Kean a great to field position, but it's at least something to be talking about, I guess.
Oh, 4th and 1, trick or treat. What do you think, Jim?
Well, I think if you're going to go 4th and 1, you got to go for it at the line of scrimmage. You can't fake a punt or anything of that nature. And Kessinger's still out there, so we'll see what they end up doing. That one will be tough for Lakeith Hopkins, I would think, to explain. Obviously, you want to get out of bounds, you want to stop the clock, but as we talked about it, Art, you got to get the 1st down first and then worry about stopping the clock.
Well, especially,
and as you mentioned, obviously, you get a 1st down and you stop the clock at least momentarily anyway.
Yeah, or if you're going for that sideline, extend the ball, make an effort right there at the side. It seemed like he was Hopkins was so bent on stopping the clock, he just completely ignored the big orange vertical signifier right in front of him telling him where the 1st down marker was.
Might have perhaps lost track that it was 3rd down, maybe thinking it was 2nd down instead.
Could have been. That's a good point. That could have been it.
And Kessinger waits a good long while and then kicks. Corder makes the fair catch at the 32, and now Kean's got a little choice here from the 32-yard line of Kean. Do they take a shot downfield with 1:21 to go?
Yeah, they took a timeout before that kick, which makes me think they're not going to really try to drive down the field and score, or at least they're going to maintain their hurry up. So I'd be surprised if they go against that. Otherwise, they wouldn't have burned that timeout. Unless they were expecting a fake punt.
They've got 3 receivers right, 1 to the left. Play action. Looking back across the middle, they hit Corridor. And he is hit from behind and knocked down after a pickup of about 5 yards.
Yeah, conservative pass that time, either because the Knight's secondary was back deep, or because that's kind of their intent is to just kind of run out the clock this way.
This is going to be a quarterback draw.
Yeah.
App trying to get to the sideline himself. He picks up the first down, steps out at the 50. Suddenly, Kean's got it 50 yards away with 54 seconds to go.
Moving the ball well and stopping the clock, as you mentioned.
App is a sophomore quarterback from the 50. He'll throw right side this time. Bobbling catch by Schmidt, the tight end, and he gets out of bounds after a pickup of only about 3.
Yeah, the Knights look like they're playing a little bit of a deep prevent. Not wanting to give up that long ball and recognizing that keeping it in the middle of the field or keeping these short passes, just banking on the clock working in their favor if they're able to do that.
This time Appa looking down the left sidelines. Now he's going to throw deep down the middle. Man wide open. It is caught, and it's a touchdown by Kadir Johnson, who had just caught a reception for a touchdown a few minutes ago in the second quarter, and this time he catches a 50-yarder to suddenly make it a 27-6 game. So that failure by the Knights, Hopkins, to step and get that first down marker really turned things around here right before halftime, Art.
So Hopkins set up the situation with a bad play. That's true, but that's just a blown coverage. I mean, the first thing they teach you when you're playing secondary is if you're a safety, you're as deep as the deepest man. There were 3 men in coverage that time and nobody behind him.
Yeah, Johnson was a good 2 to 3 yards behind all the defenders.
Yeah, and with 45 seconds left on the clock, you got to know they're going to take a shot. You have to know, or at least that's the biggest threat to. You don't know, I misspoke. You don't know that they're going to, but you know that's the biggest threat to you. So if someone's hauling downfield, you've got to be backpedaling or turning and running early before they get to you. You cannot let a man get behind you.
App might have froze some of those defenders by initially looking down the left sideline, but then he just turned on a dime and threw it deep down the middle to a wide open Kadir Johnson. That one really takes the momentum and shifts it back to Kean here. Seconds. There's a block by the Knights. Won't be returned, but the Knights limit that score to 6 and not 7, so it's 27-6.
So that's a motivational victory as well. Just as you were saying, the momentum was swing back the other way, and you're absolutely right. This is something that contributes. It helps reduce the impact of that. But it is now the Knights with 45 seconds going into half, and again, Kean gets it at halftime. So we'll see right here. The Knights able to block that kick.
2 critical mistakes in this first half for the Knights. A couple of turnovers, interception, fumble, and maybe potentially Hopkins play stepping out of bounds rather than going for the first down marker.
Yeah, and did you see who that was blocking that kick? That's Mr. Carroll. That's Mr. tight end coming in there in a kick
just a good all-around athlete.
Yeah, just stretching up, extending, and making a great play on that.
So Kean's lead back to 3 scores now. A little indecision between, it looked like Hopkins and Harris, and Harris takes it and works to the right side. And Harris finally.
Oh my! And
there was another temporary face mask, and then we do have a flag.
I was going to say the referee behind may have not had an angle, but that umpire was looking straight at it.
I'm starting to wonder, and maybe it's because we haven't had all the face masks actually called, but I wonder what's the record for a team to have face mask penalties in a game. Kean looks like they would maybe, provided all the face masks were called, maybe set a record today, perhaps. Now the Knights have 35 seconds to work with, down by the 21 here.
So I didn't hear the penalty on that. I didn't see it indicated. There's no penalty on that, which.
Well, I know he had it and let it go.
Yeah,
but I mean, I'm thinking if you get it, you get it.
That's why there's multiple versions of the penalty, though, Jim. There's the 5-yard incidental face mask, and then there's the big one, which we saw earlier. But he grabbed the face mask. He didn't touch the face mask. He grabbed the face. I totally lost on that one.
Honey cut throws to Watts out of the backfield. He's trying to get to the sidelines. Ends up being a yard loss.
And Jim, I know I'm harping on this face mask thing a lot, but the reason it's a penalty is you can hurt somebody very badly.
Oh, it wouldn't take much for a neck injury.
Yeah, it's very severe. And so when you let things like that go, I would hate to see somebody come out of this game with an injury because things like that aren't called. It's enforcing those penalties that changes behavior.
And it's a pretty easy one to see.
Yeah, at that time, certainly.
Honeycutt fires over the middle, has his receiver Burge near the 50. Short gain.
22 seconds. Knights got to take a timeout or get lined up quickly unless they're just heading into the locker room, and they are going to run another one.
Need about 4. Honeycutt scrambles, hit from behind, and knocked down for the sack.
Not what you want going into the locker room. You hate to go in with a sack as your last play.
And that will be the last play of the first half as the Knights trail here at halftime 27-6 to the Kean Cougars.
Well, some positives certainly in the first half. The Knights able to score to break the second quarter curse, and a huge effort by the defense to do that. The blocked extra point was a good one. There's really been some good things, but also a large margin of error. Some mistakes.
See number 7 right there, Tristan Burnett, who not only blocked the punt but recovered it for a touchdown. That was the positive here for the Knights in this first half. The negatives: Hopkins stepping out of bounds prematurely before getting the first down. Fumble, obviously, when the Knights were driving. Interception while the Knights were driving. And then the one thing that's been very tough for the Knights to overcome is their lack of good starting field position. In Kean, the exact 180-degree reverse. They have had the ball more often than not in great starting field position.
Yeah, and as you start cleaning up some of those, it can help other things. As you move the ball, that's what helps you either put points on the board or give the other team worse field position. As your defense really solidifies and operates, even can create turnovers, that's what gets your offense better field position. So there's little things like this. As you start to get one, it can grow into another and another, but the Knights have really got to start shifting this momentum. You can see Coach Walker there, I think, very justifiably talking things over with some referees because I'm going to stop talking about that.
Well, he's probably asking, listen, I know you guys threw a couple of face mask flags, but there were 8 or 9 maybe in that
easily.
Potentially.
Yeah, that's just – I'm going to stop talking about it. So we are going to have Coach Tony Caputo here, our head men's basketball coach, in here for an interview just a few minutes as they get ready to head out west. Weber State University, or is it with a matchup with them coming up here in just a little bit.
So we'll take a little break here with the halftime score: Kean 27 and Southern Virginia 6. Welcome back to the fields at Southern Virginia University. Jim Bresnahan, Art Furler, 27-6. Kean is leading Southern Virginia here at halftime. We are pleased to welcome onto the halftime show Tony Caputo, the head men's basketball coach here at Southern Virginia University. Tony, it's hard to believe, but it's basketball season almost. You guys have been hard at work practicing, and season is just around the corner for you guys.
Yeah, we've been practicing for about 2.5 weeks now, since October 15th, and we're excited to get going. Trying to put in a few new things, and you're never quite ready, but it's upon us anyway. So
run through your roster, returning players and new faces, semi-new faces in the case, I guess, of Jacobson, and totally new players.
Yeah, we have a number of players coming back from last year's team, including Kevin Walker, who's going to be one of our captains, who's a senior, and David Beatty, who started for us, second half last year, will be a senior. We have Emmett Mosley coming back. That'll be a senior. We have Justin Langford coming back for his junior year. He's another one of our captains. Aaron Rumbaugh got a start or two down the stretch. He'll be back as a sophomore. He's a real nice player. Cale Thornton and Jordan McGuigan, number of nice pieces. They were freshmen
Cale,
last year.
Really good inside presence last year.
Yeah, he came along and got some experience, and we'll be counting on him for that this year as well.
And the new faces, or semi-new faces, I guess you could say.
Well, we have two coming back from missions that I think will play a key part. So definitely Anders Jacobson. He's a 3-year starter, and this will be his 4th year. We're going to move him from the 2 to the 1, I think. And then Jake Fink, who also played some point guard before his mission, and he'll play some point guard as well. And then we have some new players. We've got 2 kids that were high school teammates in Utah, and Jace Edmonds and Zach Porter are their names. They played at Maple Mountain. I think they're going to add some good things. We've got Nate Adamson, who was player of the year at the small schools in Idaho. He's looking really good out there. Joseph Holland can shoot it a bit from Oregon. Kellen Winslow, he's got a broken nose, but he's a real tough competitor. Coach Winslow's son. Like him a lot.
He's got a great the old NFL name, from the 80s,
yeah,
I guess.
Yeah.
So, I mean, how do you envision, at least early on, potential starting lineups and the approach? I mean, you look like you're going to go with Jacobson, as you mentioned, point guard, and Kevin Walker, the 2 guard then?
Yeah. Yeah, that'll give us a chance to if we've had Aaron Rumbaugh, he's been injured, but if Aaron can get healthy again, give us a chance to have a little bit more size, and then we're going to move kind of everyone up. David Beatty's moving from the 3 to the 4, and Justin Langford probably from the 4 to the 5.
Okay.
And then we've got some guys, like I was saying, Cale Thornton, Zach Porter, that can come on in the post.
So some good depth.
Yeah. I mean, they're kind of more true 5s. We're a little shorter in the 4 position, but we'll take some guys that might play 3 normally and put them into the 4 position probably.
Now, the new faces, is it tough to say what kind of first seasons they might have and what you can expect from them as you get a little deeper into the schedule?
It really is, because last year when we talked about new faces, we talked about players who were JUCO transfers,
Right.
and had some college experience. This year, no. This year, our new players are players that don't have college basketball experience. So, other than, of course, the 2 that we had coming back from missions, I don't think of them as new.
Right.
So, it's going to be interesting to see. Like I said, Nate Adamson, he's a state champion. I feel, like he's been in the pressure cooker and done fine, but some of these other guys we're going to find out.
What do you see as the big rule changes, I guess, when you look ahead to the coming season for men's basketball? And talk also about your schedule, which we just mentioned a few seconds ago, is just, about a week or so away?
Yeah. Well, we'll see about the rule changes. Every year they say they're going to make these rule changes. This last year, it comes down to the NCAA Division I tournament. Whatever happens there, their commentators make a bunch of noise, and then they decide to change rules. And so supposedly they're going to make the game more offensive. Now, one thing they're doing that definitely is having a bigger effect than I thought it would is that 35-second shot clock down to 30. That is really making a difference in practices.
How do you adjust to that?
You've got to play faster. We've always been known as a pretty patient team, and it takes a little bit of that away. You'd be surprised what not having that 5 seconds does.
Especially if you're pressured, you get a lot of backward pressure.
Yeah.
Then maybe you get it across with 8 or 9 on the And then suddenly you're down to 20 seconds or so.
Yeah, that's right. It goes by really fast. It's strange, but supposedly they're going to call the fouls closer, especially try to clean up the game as far as the defense being physical. Like I said, we'll see what happens. I'd sure like to see that because I know when we went to BYU last year, they shot 22 free throws before we shot our first one with about 8 minutes left, and I did not feel like we were the physical team. And as you talk about the schedule, we're going to play a scrimmage here Tuesday against Eastern Mennonite, who the running Royals can really get up and down the floor, and they play a very fast brand of basketball. But then we're going to go to Weber State and play a guy that's supposed to be an NBA draft pick. One of their big guys is like 6'9", 6'10", about 250.
Who gets to guard him?
Everybody. But we'll see. Let's see.
I thought you were going to put Langford on him at least initially, or
oh yeah, he'll have to play him, and we'll just have to use as many bodies against him as we can, I guess.
Now you mentioned the Weber trip. Then you guys come back home for some home games.
Yeah, we have. First time it's in a while. That Weber State game's an exhibition, but the first time in a while that we get to have a home opener. We usually open on the road, but we have a home opener, Emory and Henry. And last year we played at their place and won in triple overtime.
Right. Yep.
And I think they have pretty much everybody back. I think they might have lost about one senior, so they should be pretty good.
That was the game Preston went off?
Yeah. Preston Eaton had his best game of his career there. And then we have we're going up to New York City for a real nice tournament up there, and then come back for Bridgewater, and then we have Newport News on the road, and then we get into the league season.
Is it too early for you to really talk about what you expect from some of these Capital teams this year?
No, I think it's going to be somewhat similar to last year. I think the two teams that played for the championship, Salisbury and Christopher Newport, both of them lost like one starter, one senior, and so.
Of course, you guys beat CNU at home in overtime, I think.
Yeah, we did. That was one of our best games of the season, and they were up, I guess, 7 points with a minute and a half left at Salisbury and lost by 1 point. But yeah, it's going to be a tough league, and those two being the top two in the championship last year and only losing one player each, you got to expect that they're going to be right there. And even though St. Mary's won the league, they did lose a few players, but they had a real nice bench, and they had a number of guys redshirting. So I expect them to bounce back and be real competitive also. And but we're hoping to find our way into that league tournament. That's our goal, and if we do the things we need to do, I think we're going to surprise some people and find ourselves there. Come the end of February in that league tournament.
The guys you mentioned who went on missions who are back, how difficult has it been for them to make the adjustment to playing basketball again?
Well, it's it is. I mean, it's been 2.5 years since they played, so I mean it is a little of adjustment, but physically they didn't get too out of shape. Justin Langford came back last year, and he was a little bit more physically out of shape after 2.5 years. Jake and Anders. Physically are in pretty good shape. Anders is dealing with a little bit of a hamstring issue, but we'll see. I mean, it's until you get out there and play that first game, which we'll see here this week, and then on the 17th of November, and be able to tell better at that time.
Tony, just a few questions ago, really quick. What do you expect from some of your key returning players? The ones that really come to mind from an offensive standpoint would be Beatty and Walker. What are you looking for them, at least early on here in the season?
Well, they've got to be strong on both ends. We need them to stay out of foul trouble. Kevin especially had a little bit of foul trouble issues last year. We need him out on the court. And, I expect that they'll pick up from where they left off last year. They know the league now. They know our stuff a little bit better. Anders, of course, knows our stuff. And so that's going to help, because those guys last year both were JUCO, transfers that didn't know our stuff. And so now they've been in the system for a year, and now expect them to have a good start ahead of where they were at this time last year.
And for fans who either make it to witness these games in person from the Knight Sports Arena or perhaps via the webcast, what can they look for offensively and defensively, especially as you mentioned offensively, having to deal with the change in the shot clock?
Well, I think the whole game is going to be faster. I mean, and we've coached it to play faster this year. We feel we have some pretty good depth. We don't have as much size as I'd like to have, and between the fact that we're smaller and we have pretty good depth, and the game has got to be played faster with that 30-second clock, I think you're going to see a game that is just has more action and is going to run faster. I think hopefully we're patient enough on offense, but we probably won't be quite as patient as we were.
Mm-hmm.
We're going to probably look to fast break more than we have and put more pressure on defensively.
Okay, well, Tony, good luck to you guys in the coming season.
Thanks, Jim. Look forward to seeing you.
Tony Caputo, once again, head coach of the Southern Virginia University men's basketball team. 27-6 is your score here at halftime with Kean on top of Southern Virginia. We'll take a little break and come back for the second half kickoff right after this. Second half ready to go under, and here from the fields at Southern Virginia University as the Knights kick off to Kean to get this second half underway. And I think we had a lot of confusion on that kickoff, and we'll see. Looks like a fair catch called for by Kean around the 23-yard line. It was one of the upmen instead of Corridor making that play.
Yeah, don't see many fair caught kickoffs.
Nah, so we start the second half, Art, with the Knights trailing by 3 scores, 27-6. And to recap for those who weren't with us for the first half, the Knights played pretty well. They were obviously outmatched in the area of field position. Kean had excellent field position in that first half. The Knights had a couple of key turnovers, one interception, one fumble, and Kean's got a 3-score lead as we start second half play, and that is Corridor, their top running back, picking up, looks like about 11 yards right off the bat.
Yeah, there's a lot of guys pushing around in there, though, which typically you only see when there's a fumble.
Looks like it's going to be rolled down, though.
Yep. Well, the biggest thing the Knights can do, I think, at this point, Kean runs a hurry-up offense, and so if you can force them into a quick, well, not 3 and out since they've gotten a first down, but if you can shut them down here quickly, you can gain momentum quickly, but it can cut just as easily the other direction. Good job gang tackling that time by the Knights with White downing, ending up on top.
Yeah, Corridor picking up just a few yards.
Yeah, so if you can shut them down quickly and get the ball back, that can be a big momentum shift.
This is play action. App, the quarterback, throwing on the run for Hopman, and it's off his fingertips, incomplete. So the Knights have forced a big third down play coming up for Kean. Down by 3 touchdowns, Art. That's the thing. Here in the third quarter, Knights want to stop Kean, get the ball back, score, and try to cut it down to a 2-score ball game, whereas Kean obviously maybe trying to put this game away with their opening series of the second half.
Yeah, I talked a lot with Mike Harmon this season commentating volleyball about side-out volleyball. You get a lead, and then you can afford to go scores back and forth.
And here is App, the quarterback, on a draw play and a good defensive play by the Knights to stop the quarterback from getting to that first down marker.
Yeah, downing in on that. The Knights are going to have to create some stops and get some consecutive scores. And
apparently he
just
got to the marker. I thought it was going to be. I thought he was going to be about a yard shy. But,
yeah,
they gave him a good spot.
I thought he was down well before he extended that ball forward.
Yeah, I thought the knee hit before he extended, but apparently not, according to the referees. Corridor up the middle, and he's lucky to get back to the line of scrimmage, and actually will pick up about a yard and a half.
Well, that's the kind of thing that we can fret over as commentators a little bit, but if you're the Knights team, you cannot let that get to you, those little calls by the referee as well. And there's a man falling down.
Looks like the left guard.
Yeah, not sure what happened there. Could be a cramp. It is kind of chilly out here.
Yeah, looks like that is Justin Rodriguez, 6'3", 290 sophomore, who's going to come out of the game.
But fell down, but got up, is hustling off. That's confusing.
Baffles.
Yeah.
Doesn't look like it's a cramp, but on the sidelines, looks like they're looking at his foot. Second down, about 8 to go. App rolling away from Malore, fires, has his receiver. Johnson makes a nice move to get some extra yards. Kadir Johnson, who caught 2 touchdown passes in that first half. And suddenly, Kean has moved the ball to the Knights' 40.
Yeah, the Knights really have to get rolled up in this coverage. They've got to prevent catches. That's one thing we've seen from the Kean secondary is they've been able to be there and break things up, but the Knights just a little bit of a step behind.
Here's App given to Corridor. Breaks it to the right side, now cuts it back to the middle, and he picks up about 14.
Yeah, not what you want to see as Southern Virginia is Kean working this ball down the field, especially since a couple on this first drive have already been first downs from first downs.
Tyson Jones into the game now at tailback. He gets the carry right up the middle and works his way to the 20. Boy, they've got a good 1-2 punch in Corridor and Tyson Jones at the tailback position.
Yeah, it looks like the Knights frustrated trying to get those calls in from the sidelines a little quicker, struggling to do so right now. And again, that's the difficulty of this tempo offense.
21-yard line, second down at short. App play action, fires on the run, has his receiver. It's the tight end Schmidt, and he steps out, but not until he picks up, it looks like, for another first down for Kean.
Yeah, that Knights just seeming to have a really difficult time keeping up with the pace here.
Especially the run-pass mix that Kean has had going in this first series of the second half. App on a draw play. Nowhere to
Stood
go.
up. Yeah.
Good defensive push that time by the Knights.
Yeah, great job the Knights collapsing in on that, leaving no room for escape. Deaton Wilson for one at the front of that pack for the
Yeah,
Knights.
there was also Katoa and I think Dimitri Gomez on the play too. Second down, almost 10 to go. App gives off to another running back into the
Big
game
hit.
time. This time it is Brian Matthews, and he's hit and knocked down.
Yeah, Gomez laying that first hit as well, wrapping up and able to slow things down. I know I've said that several times today, but it's really been the Knights' plan of action. Has been grab a guy, hold on to him, and wait for help to come. And that's what you have to do if the other guy's bigger or more athletic.
So they force Kean to a third down passing situation. And the quarterback fires and has Katir Johnson again for another touchdown reception. That is his third of the game. And it looked like Dimitri Gomez maybe had a chance to sack the quarterback, but it was the quarterback App rolling away from the pressure and throwing to Johnson, who again has his third touchdown reception.
Yeah, it was a good effort by Owens that time. It's really just a height mismatch when he's playing to that side. It's difficult to know. If you're a taller guy, you've got a little bit more room. You can let the guy get away from you and collapse back to it because of your wingspan. Owens not afforded that luxury.
Yeah, Kadir Johnson again, his third touchdown reception. The extra point is good, and suddenly it's Kean on top here, 33-6, 34-6, and it only took them about 3.5 minutes to score that first score of the second half. So Knights are down by 28, and they'll get the ball here in just a few seconds for the first time in the second half.
Well, unless we forget, the Knights were able to score in the second quarter that touchdown, but that was not done by the offense. So the
Special
offense,
teams, yeah.
Yeah, the offense has had a couple of drives today where they've been able to get down. I don't think they've actually gotten into the red zone, but they have gotten pressure and gotten pushed down into Cougar territory. But really just they have to be able to finish those drives. We'll have to see if the Knights are able to do that here starting the second half better than they were able to in the first.
Yeah, in the first half, the Knights had the ball in Kean territory twice, Art, and in both cases, those drives were stymied by turnovers, once by a fumble, another time by an interception. Again, as you mentioned, the only score of the ball game came from special teams, Tristan Burnett blocking a punt in the end zone and then recovering
Short
the punt.
kick.
And very short return by the Knights. One of the upmen for the Knights are making that return.
Yeah,
and
scooped up by Dallin Breen, and that he's an offensive linebacker, or excuse me, outside linebacker. So he's not a typical offensive player, not somebody used to handling the ball. So it was a good job by him to get on that and a smart play to go down with it and just make sure to maintain possession.
The fall sports winding down. I think today is the day for the cross-country conference meet. Of course, men's soccer, women's soccer, all finished, Art, and I think volleyball's got its last match of the season today as well.
Yeah, volleyball actually beat Wesley today. Kind of a big surprise. Them took them to 5 sets, if I understand correctly. But congratulations to them.
That would be their 7th match victory of the season, and a good way to wrap up the 2015 season for volleyball.
Yeah, and also. I understand there was a new record, Southern Virginia record set in the 5K today. I'll try to get some details on that for you as well.
And of course,
and that was
soccer wrapped up earlier in the week.
Right, but that was at the CAC Championships.
Yep.
But yeah, it is women's volleyball winning 3-2 in sets at Wesley. So big congratulations to them.
Nice way to wrap up the season. After today, football will have 2 more games left. College of New Jersey as Jared Watts goes down on the first carry. And it'll be College of New Jersey coming up on the road next week, final road game of 2015 for the football team. And then 2 weeks from today, they wrap up the entire season at home against Christopher Newport.
Yeah, Christopher Newport not as much of a powerhouse this year. Really, the Knights have gone through most of the meat grinder of their season so far. So some possible better performances still yet to come.
Including that last road game at the College of New Jersey next week. And, of course, that's the team that the Knights
great
beat.
Catch.
As Michael Carroll is able to get forward after making the grab to the 45. College of New Jersey was the team the Knights beat last season, Art, at home.
Yeah, tough catch in coverage, able to secure it and then keep moving forward to get the first down. Michael Carroll as you mentioned, last season really had a huge impact, and starting to see a little bit more from him today.
Good to see them using him a little bit more today. He had that great catch, too, on the right sideline in the first half.
Yeah, this is double tight ends, Trevor Miller on the right and Michael Carroll on the left.
And it's going to be Watts trying to get outside, but he is hit and dragged down, getting tackled for a loss. Look like Taj Hamri making the play, coming up defensively, or make that Robert Meade the third actually making the play, along with a couple of his teammates. Loss of 3, 2nd and 13 for the Knights. And you look at the New Jersey Athletic Conference, I know next week it'll be Salisbury at Wesley. That'll be the game that'll most likely decide the conference championship.
Yeah, that should be a heck of a game. Jim.
Hard to rule against Wesley, though. Oh, pass to Burge. He dropped it. Little inside screen.
Yeah, it looked like he was not expecting that pass, and Jared Watts at the top of the screen on the left side there looked like he was. And so just a little quick pass there, but came in a little more expeditiously than he expected. You got to catch and then run with it.
Good to see Hatch out there at quarterback. We were talking about Wesley at home next week against Salisbury. Both of those are powerhouses, but got to help Wesley to be at home, obviously.
Yeah, very true, Jim.
Third down play coming up. Hatch to throw. Fires. Incomplete. Don't see any penalty flags as he was trying to hit Nathan Wilson.
Yeah, not what the Knights wanted to see on their first drive, despite that great catch. They didn't go 3 and out, so they did get at least that first down after the great catch by Carroll. But 4th and 13 and having to punt it away, not the situation they want to be in.
So the Knights getting ready to punt here with Kean on top by 28.
That is not Burnett back there at punter, by the way. I did not see the number of who it was, but it was definitely not Burnett.
Or Kessinger, you mean.
Excuse me, Kessinger, yes.
Yeah, looks like they've gone away from Kessinger the last couple of times here. And Kean with the ball and a 28-point lead here in the third quarter.
Yeah, and that defense for the Knights, who has been called upon so much and has been put in some difficult situations now, having to step up again. It will be a manageable field length for them.
Yeah, Laxton's been doing the punting here the last couple of times. Kessinger's got that style, as you pointed out, Art, where he kind of does a running rugby-style punt.
Yeah, with benefits and drawbacks to it.
Here is Tyson Jones. Kyrie Tyson Jones, big carry. And he goes all the way down the left sideline.
Yeah, the Knights really diving for ankles, and the problem is you've got a lot more flexibility in what you can do with your feet than what you can do with your waist. And so if you're diving for his feet, he can step over you, stutter step, that kind of thing, and really change it up. The Knights have got to get him around the waist to bring these guys down.
And now it's Corder, the backup, or the other tailback, and he goes around the right side, and he gets about 11 yards across the 50 to another first down marker.
Yeah, the Knights giving up yards in bunches at this point. They're going to have to start getting stops, or this one's going to be in the barn very quickly.
Kean scored on its opening series of the second half and moving the ball into Knights territory on their second series of the second half.
Oh, bad snap.
App dropped it.
And that was a face
Gets
mask.
away and steps out of bounds.
Boy, there was a huge hands to the face. The offensive line there, I guess you could call it a hold if you've got the guy by the face mask. That's something, though. I'm sorry. I've been very disappointed in some of the lack of calls today, Jim. I know I have a reputation
I'm guessing
historically
they've called
for that.
1 out of every 3, maybe?
Maybe. Wow.
Loss of 7 that time. This time,
halfback pass.
It's going to be thrown, and there's no one there. He was trying to hit Hamry, the wide receiver, but Corder underthrew it.
Yeah, that was a great job by the secondary of the Knights not collapsing on that, because the tendency is when that ball is handed off that it pulls the secondary in to come up and stop the run. But a very disciplined job that time, recognizing that the halfback pass was an option.
Now it's 3rd down and a long, 17 to go for Kean. Here's a pass to Hammery. He makes the catch and falls
slips
down to the 48. Not sure how much further he would have gone, but at least a couple of yards.
Yeah.
Now Kane's going to have to punt.
So the Knights defense comes up huge on this one.
And the Knights offense will look to get on the scoreboard for the first time today.
We'll have to see. Both punters have had some mixed results so far today. We'll have to see how Kean comes up on this one, and what, if anything, the Knights are able to put together with a return.
Knights setting up for the return.
It's a good punt.
Watts trying to find some room to run, and he gets almost back to the 20-yard line.
Yeah, not bad starting field position, especially after that last drive.
Well, on a lot of occasions in that first half, the Knights were starting inside their 20, almost back to their 10 or 15-yard line.
Yeah, any little bit you can get, any comfort zone between you and your own end zone, that spacing is very important. Not only is it less room that you have to go, it's also more room that you have to work with. A little bit less pressure when you've got some room to run around and you're not in your own end zone.
Hatch back out there at quarterback. John Harris the tailback on this series, with the Knights trailing by 34-6 count. Knights again trying to get on the scoreboard for the first time. Offensively, Harris gets the handoff, and he gets crunched in the backfield by a huge defensive lineman.
Yeah, the Knights' offensive lines really, they started out today doing a great job of protection, but as the game has worn on, they've really just been overwhelmed by the defensive front seven.
This game really started out very close, Art, and very promising for the Knights. They played very well in the first quarter, gave up an early score, had the ball driving down the field, down only 7-0, and then they had the turnover, and Kean came right back in the second quarter with a couple of scores to jump on top big time.
Very true. It's huge progress for the Knights to do as well in the first quarter that they did.
Play action by Hatch.
With some time.
Now he just throws it away in the general direction of Burge, but well to the sideline. And we want to salute the supporters for Southern Virginia football, and those supporters include JJ's Meat Shack. So next time you're in Buena Vista or need a local event catered, stop by JJ's for the best barbecue in Virginia. You can find JJ's Meat Shack, 1607 Magnolia Avenue in Buena Vista.
Yeah, they've got the truck out here at the game today as well, spreading their barbecue love.
Nothing like some good barbecue, huh?
Amen, brother. Oh, no.
Hatch to Harris on a screen pass. Another flag
down.
Oh,
that was a huge hit on the quarterback.
Yeah.
Well after he delivered that ball.
That would be the second time we've seen, at least from a penalty standpoint.
Keep your eyes on the quarterback, Hatch, here this time.
23, making the play. Oh.
Well after he delivered the ball. There's no point to that. I'm sorry. There's been multiple times today. There's no call for that.
Tom Winters, the junior defensive player for Kean, hitting Hatch. And Hatch has actually been the quarterback out there twice now where he's been hit like that after the whistle.
Yeah, and not only is it foolish for your team because you give up the first down, but it's just again, what's the point of that? That's not what we're out here to do, guys.
So that time Hatch is hit after he released the ball. Well, Kean's going to, unfortunately for the Cougars, probably win the battle of penalty yardage, Art, but I'm not sure it's going to make much of a difference, although the Kean coaches can't be pleased with all these penalties they're picking up.
Yeah, there's in a game like this where you've got an advantage that size, you can get away with stuff like that, but if you get in the habit and in tighter games later, those can kill you.
Knights with the ball, 33-yard line. Hatch hands it off. Not much running room in the middle of the field. Gain of maybe 2 over to the 35. So John Harris gets to the 35-yard line and picks up a couple. Yeah. John Harris back in that first half, he took a vicious clothesline face mask on a on a return play.
Yeah, that's a great point. Glad to see that he's up okay after that. That is a scary thing to see at full speed.
He picked up 3 that time. Honeycutt in there at quarterback has a nice pass over to the right side as he hits Miller, the tight end. Hatch, though, was out there at quarterback. He got the late hit, Art, and he's back out of the game, and Honeycutt's back in there. You hope Hatch is okay. He's had a tough game going to the turf twice on late hits.
Yeah, I'm going to stop talking about that too, Jim. There's no place for it.
Short third down play here for the Knights, needing first down to keep this drive alive.
Man in motion again for the Knights.
And Harris up the middle, ran into a brick wall. We only needed a yard, so we'll see where they'll spot him at.
They pushed the pile.
Doesn't look like a generous spot. They're marking him at the 42 or thereabouts. Just shy of the 43. We'll see if that's enough.
Yeah, no signal yet.
Looks like it's short. So 4th and inches. The Knights will have to get to almost the 43.
And they're going for it.
See if they give it over to Harris again. Maybe trying to draw.
Yeah, and that's
Kean off sides, and
instead you get that hand motion in the Knights' backfield.
And now the Knights are going to have to punt on a 4th and 6.
That's twice today that the Knights have decided to take it on 4th and short, have tried to draw the offside penalty, and have gotten the false start for themselves.
Laxton back out there as the punter.
Interesting formation there.
Laxton makes the grab and kicks. And Corder waits on it and makes the catch at the 35-yard line, gets to the 37-yard line, and he is knocked down right there by Stockton Hyatt.
Yep. Good kick that time. And good coverage as well by the Knights.
Well, without question, Art, the Knights, before this game ends, wants to get on the scoreboard, with the offense to get on the scoreboard. Again, 6 points on there right now for the Knights, and that came from special teams. Tristan Burnett going ahead, blocking a punt, recovering the ball in the end zone before it squirted out of the end zone. That's the 6 points the Knights have so far today.
Yeah, it's a different thing when you can score on the offense. It really, the offense can't feel good about points on the board if they didn't score them.
Tyson Jones, running back, picks up a couple.
I should say they can't feel as good. Points are points no matter how you get them.
I haven't really seen the quarterback App run the ball a whole lot today. It's really been App throwing the ball to Kadir Johnson, the wide receiver, who has 3 touchdown receptions today. And, of course, Corridor and Tyson Jones, the running backs. That time a pass play by App, and he hits his receiver.
And
another flag coming in.
Not sure what it was on that one.
DeJuan McCrary making the catch.
Looks like the ref coming over and talking it over with Johnson, who you just mentioned.
Kean came in the middle of the pack of the New Jersey Athletic Conference. 3 wins, 3 losses in the conference, and 4-3 overall in the season.
Boy, having quite the conversation on this one with the head linesman.
Another personal
That's Johnson.
foul. Kadir Johnson, the wide receiver. Must have been a late block.
Well, unsportsmanlike conduct could be a lot of things. Referees don't like a lot of jawing.
Could be verbal,
field.
Yep.
So we're not sure what that is, but
just another penalty for Kean.
Yeah, and that's one thing I have to say. You know, that the Knights are clearly in a difficult position. Unlikely they're going to win this ball game, but they have not had there have not been disciplinary problems there, but several late hits, several unsportsmanlike conduct, several face masks.
And a few penalties that weren't called by the referees.
Yeah,
it's going to be
that's
interesting
true.
to see
That's
at
true.
the end of the game when we look at the box score stats to see what penalty yardage Kean has amassed for the day, because we've still got obviously about 18 minutes to go, Art.
Yeah, great job by Joshua Davis getting penetration there and blowing that play up.
App on a 2nd and 13 goes shotgun, and he runs left
Yeah, design
himself.
run.
And he breaks a couple of tackles, gets to the sidelines, and out of bounds near the 36.
Just after you mentioned not a lot of running from him, they have a design run. He has had just a couple of scrambles when the coverage hasn't allowed him to throw it, but that...
He's had a few quarterback draws, but it's really been the two tailbacks.
Yep.
Doing the majority of the running as App rolls right, throws, and hits Kadir Johnson. Nice catch. First down, Kean. 45 of the Cougars.
Yep, still moving the ball despite that penalty.
There's one of your stars of the game right there, Johnson. 3 touchdown catches today.
Yeah, sure hands, very talented receiver to be sure.
And Tyson Jones picks up about 6 as he gets into Knights territory at the 49-yard line. Joshua Davis making the stop. Defense, though, has been out there a lot here in the third quarter, and they've got to be getting tired, Art.
Oh, absolutely. Oh,
Good
big hit that
defensive play
time.
that time by the Knights.
Yeah, that was Brandon Erickson getting in, and that's how you tackle a guy, getting him up in the air and bringing him right back down.
Hitting the third string tailback, Matthews. 3rd and 2 now for Kean. And Matthews gets to the first down marker and crosses the marker to get to the 44 of the Knights for another first down for the Cougars.
Yeah, again, just moving this ball, sometimes in chunks and sometimes just a couple at a time, but great job by the Kean offense to keep the chains moving.
Another running back, their 4th running back today, is stacked up at the line of scrimmage. Dillingham for no gain, Matthew Dillingham. Looks like Kean basically here, as the third quarter is starting to draw to a close now, Art, is really into some sort of obviously ball possession and run the clock type of offense.
I got a night down on this one.
Looks like maybe Joshua Davis, yep. He's going to come off the field largely under his own power. He's been busy today.
Oh, absolutely. One thing, the Knights have shown a lot more defensive pressure on the quarterback. Hasn't always turned into sacks or tackles for loss. On a couple occasions there have been some stops in the backfield, but there's been a lot more pressure that the Knights have been able to apply today than we've seen throughout the rest of their home season.
I've been impressed with the defense today. They've been out there a long time, Art, and of course Kean's really had great field position. Defense has not made too many mistakes. The only one that comes to mind would be that 50-yard touchdown pass they allowed right before halftime.
Yep, there's been a blown coverage. There's been a couple of blown tackles, but all in all, you're right. The defense is
and
strong.
A punch thrown by Hammery. Another penalty flag. Most likely, I'm going to guess that one's going to go against Kean. Hammery was on the ground, didn't like, I guess, the way he was treated, and threw a punch. We'll see if he gets ejected or not. Number 2, wide receiver, gets the penalty, but no ejection.
I got nothing to say, Jim.
Come on, I'm relying on you.
What do you say? I mean, you're up by 28 points. The offense, for Southern Virginia has done very little effectively. What's your point? What are you doing there?
Yeah. But it's been like that all game long. And despite all the penalties, Kean still has that 4-score lead, that 4-touchdown lead. So the penalty yardage puts it back to the 47 of the Cougars. They've had late hits on the quarterback, face mask penalties. Penalty yardage has really built up for Kean, but they still have a big lead here as Gillingham makes the carry and gets to near midfield. Gillingham picking up a couple. Fourth running back to be used today by Kean.
Great job by the Knights defense that time. That kind of delayed run is a difficult thing to read. When the quarterback drops back like that, you can really get baited in and think that it's going to be a pass play. And
we have an injured lineman for the Cougars down on the field as they're getting ready to punt.
Yeah, holding that leg.
Knights trailed at halftime, 27-6. Kean has scored once here in the third quarter. Knights still looking for their first offensive points today. Have just the 6 points on the board, and again, that was a Tristan Burnett blocked punt, recovered in the end zone by Burnett.
There we can see injured player is Justin Rodriguez, sophomore offensive lineman for Kean. Hopefully he'll be all right. Good to see him getting off under his own power as well. But you're right, Jim. Kean has only scored once in this third quarter. The Knights defense has held pretty well there, and really they held well in the first quarter as well. It's just that constant pressure.
Second quarter is where things kind of got away from the Knights.
Yep.
Had those turnovers. When you're struggling offensively and you're driving the football, both those turnovers occurred when the Knights were driving the ball into Kean territory. And those were really two big, crucial turnovers.
Well, and especially against a tempo offense. You look at the first quarter, and you come in and you're fresh, and you can keep up with that a little bit. And then as the quarter rolls on and into the second quarter, it gets harder. And you could say the same thing about the third quarter. You just had a decent break at halftime because even the drives the offense has had that have been successful haven't been particularly time-consuming. And so the defense hasn't really gotten a lengthy break there. And so you can make the same argument that now at the third quarter that they're holding fast, but we'll see if in the fourth quarter they're more worn down again.
Knights have had a couple of quarterbacks today. Hatch, but he's been injured twice, knocked out of the game on late hits. Each case, Honeycutt came in to replace him.
Almost blocked that.
Watts makes the grab over the shoulder of the 10. Goes left sideline, gets to the 20. Good return. Stiff arm.
Whoa.
Nice stiff arm against Schmidt for Kean. Nice play by Jared Watts to give the stiff arm and return that ball about 30 yards or so.
Yeah, way to prolong that play. A very scary catch. You never want to catch it behind you on a kick like that. It's just so risky.
Yeah, you lose that ball and it's going into the end zone and
Yeah.
potentially recovered by the other team.
Yeah, but great return by Watts after a very precarious catch. Good effort by him doing everything he can to help this Knights offense. And great starting field position considering where he caught that ball.
And now we'll see if the Knights offense can get on the scoreboard for the first time today.
Low snap.
Honeycutt gives it over to Hopkins. And he picks up maybe 3.
There's a flag down in the backfield. It's in the area of holding, but we've seen more roughing the passers than we have holdings today. We'll see what it is. And it is holding on the Knights.
The referees have been staying busy.
Not busy enough, Jim.
No,
Sorry.
I was going to say, staying busy, but perhaps they could have been busier.
Right.
Holding penalty will make it 1st and 20 for the Knights.
Yeah, negating a pretty decent run. That's unfortunate.
28-yard line. Hopkins, the tailback.
There's 10 men in the view right there for Kean. Not a lot of respect for the idea of a deep pass.
And the pitch goes to Hopkins. Nowhere to go. Swarmed under and no gain at the 28-yard line.
So typically when you see 10 men rolled up that tight, it either means, at this position on the field, it typically either means that you're not giving any respect to the throw, or it's in a situation where throw's not going to come. Well, first and 20, obviously, it's not a situational thing because you're going to need big gains, and long throws are a typical way of doing that. It's really just it's Kean saying we can stay with you if we have to turn and run, we can catch you, and really not showing any respect to the passing game.
Let's see if the Knights throw here on 2nd down and 19. Here comes a blitz. Honeycutt throws incomplete. He was trying to hit Burge, who comes up limping.
Yeah, very hobbled there is Jacob Burge.
Trying to hit him, looked like on a slant pattern, but the defender right there to make the play. Now it's 3rd and 19 for the Knights.
Yeah, talk about a difficult situation to manage. 3rd and 19 in your own territory is not exactly what the dream situation for an offensive coordinator.
Knights have been on the Kean side of the 50 a couple of times, but had turnovers each time. As Honeycutt, nowhere to run. Oh, he takes a real bad hit around the 38-yard line and knocked down.
Yeah, looked like he wanted to throw a couple of times, just didn't have a good opportunity to do so, and then extends the play as long as he can, and then finally runs for a few yards. Takes a shot on the end one, but a clean shot.
And good to see Sean get up and come off the field. Just 2 games left on the schedule again for the Knights. Their final road game comes up next week on the road, College of New Jersey at noon next Saturday, and then 2 weeks from today they'll wrap things up Saturday, 1 o'clock on November the 14th, hosting Christopher Newport University.
And we'll start heading into basketball season, right, Jim?
Oh, yeah. As we
Very
hear from Tony
short
Caputo. Going to roll dead at the 47-yard line, 48-yard line. That's where Kean will start. And we've talked about it, Art. They have had fantastic field position seemingly almost all series, all game long.
Yeah, really not a lot of length on the punts from Southern Virginia, and that's very difficult if you're going to be punting regularly. It's just such a big difference between if you've got 6 or 7 punts a game where you're getting 15 or 20 yards, or 6 or 7 punts a game where you're getting 30 to 40 yards. It's a world of difference.
And Kean with that field position battle, obviously the huge advantage, and they've been able to, assisted by the field position, to take this 28-point lead as Matthews, third-string running back, third-string tailback, able to pick up almost 9 yards on that carry.
Yeah, and that's where, and I've said it earlier in the season as well, Jim. These are the situations where plays that in the first quarter were 2 and 3 yards, in the second quarter were 3 and 4, and have now grown out to where the bulk of the run plays or the short distance plays are 8 or 9 yards, just because the defense is worn down.
And Dillingham picks up the first down and more. He is all the way to the Knights' 28-yard line. I believe Kean came in as a team averaging about 4.4 yards a carry into this ballgame, and of course the Knights have had problems stopping the run this season, giving up 5 to 6 yards on a carry on an average basis. And again, as you mentioned, Art, just the defense being worn down. 2 or 3 yard carries grow into 5, 6, 8 yard carries.
Yeah, if you look at the length of the roster for the Knights, it's not particularly deep, so you got a lot of the same guys out there all game, and so it's just a question of conditioning and of substitutions. You've only got so much in the tank.
Matthews running it down to the 25. Dillingham checks back in for him. Kean with a win today. They would improve to 5-3, 4-3 in the conference. And of course the Knights would drop to 0-8 overall, 0-7 in the New Jersey Athletic Conference. This is Dillingham, straight up the middle, yard or two.
Yeah, it was a great job that time by the Knights, bottling him up on that and forcing a third down. If they can do that again, be a big stop for them.
And they've gone with App at quarterback all the way here into the fourth quarter.
Yeah, they've also continued to keep Johnson on the field.
And App runs to the left side. He tries to get to the marker and is knocked out of bounds, but got very close to the first down marker. We'll see if he got it. Looks like he's just shy by about a yard or so. And he's not pleased that he ended up short. Either not pleased that he stepped out of bounds a yard before the marker, or is not pleased with that mark. So they're going to try a field goal. It'll be about a 37-yarder for the Kean Cougars.
As my grandmother used to say, he can stay mad till he gets glad again.
Did she say that about you a lot?
I don't know what you're talking about,
Okay.
Yeah, rare field goal attempt. Haven't seen much in the way of that today.
37-yarder, and it squeezes through and is good. And Kean ups that lead now to 37-6.
Well, that's still a victory for the Knights, I think, in a lot of ways, able to prevent the touchdown. Holding them to a field goal is a step in the right direction. They are going to have to put some points on the board and try to close this gap. Maybe unrealistic to say, you're 5 scores down, and so you're not going to come back and win. But closing that gap and making it a smaller marginal loss would be a big positive for the Knights.
Yeah, the Knights have only been shut out 2 games this year. And last week, Art, they scored 27. But again, the offense has been shut out today. 6 points on the board. That came from special teams.
Well, I think that's exactly what Coach Walker was talking about William Patterson stealing a game away. Is the Knights had by far their best performance of the season last week, and it was so close. They'd scored. They'd really been able to put up points on the board last week better than previously.
Yeah, you mentioned the missed opportunities, and again, the Knights had recovered a William Patterson fumble, had a 3-point lead, had the football inside the William Patterson 30 after recovering that fumble with just about 5 to 6 minutes to go in the game, and William Patterson still was able to get the winning touchdown and score. Hard run back by John Harris, took a real lick, but he gets up.
Yep, the Knights will have to look at the film early in this one and see some of that those same opportunity costs, though, because that fumble early on that we've referred to several times was big. The one blown coverage. There's really only been, at least I should say, in the first half, there were only 4 or 5 plays that really caused the majority of the points.
The fumble, we also had, that was the first time I think Hatch took a late hit. He came out of the game. Honeycutt came in, threw the interception near the goal line, and then Lakeith Hopkins, right before halftime, had a chance to run for a first down, ran instead of the sidelines, came up a yard short, and then that gave the ball back to Kean, and what do? They came right back and scored on a touchdown pass.
Yeah, just a few decisions, and that's the thing about football as opposed to a lot of other sports. So, for example, in basketball, you blow one play, the guy gets by and gets 2 or 3 points.
Generally speaking, that's not going to come back to haunt you.
Yeah.
Obviously, if you lose by 2 or 3 points.
Yeah, but it's easier to come back from. But here you have to be so consistent for so long in order to prevent a team from scoring, or to be so consistent for so long to drive down the field and score yourself. It really just takes one blown play to make a significant difference in the game. So you do that 2, 3, 4 times, and it can make an insurmountable margin.
Well, especially that last play right before halftime where the Knights had a chance, if nothing else, Art, to hang on to the football and only going down 21-6, and then again, they give up the football because they don't get the first down marker, and Kean scores, and suddenly it's 27-6 instead at halftime.
Yeah, just little things that could make a huge difference. Watts getting up in a little bit of a limp maybe on that one. Hopefully just something sore, shaken off, maybe got a stinger on that.
In each case, the Knights have run into some tough hits today. John Harris, Watts, quarterback Hatch, but they've been able to get up and shake it off. 3rd down, 8 to go for the Knights, 30-yard line of the Knights. Honeycutt wants to throw, right side, and
Good
he's
throw.
got his receiver. Nathan Wilson makes the catch. 1st down, Knights.
Boy, right on the money. Well-timed, good throw, good catch. Great job by Wilson to keep his feet in bounds as well. That was just a great play.
Now we'll see if the Knights can build on that and take it down the field.
Other great thing about that ball is it was positioned such that if Wilson didn't come up with it, nobody else was going to. The Knights have been plagued by dangerously thrown balls in situations where defenders have come up with it.
Honeycutt hands it off. Nope. Keeps it himself and wishes he had given the ball to Watts.
Yep, tough situation there, trying to make the decision, and that's as I mentioned earlier in the first half. It's that make the decision and go with it, because it slowed him down far too much to fake that handoff for so long and then not able to get some momentum to get away from the defender. It's a lot more difficult than it sounds, though, because you've really got to read that defense and see
Ball in a
what's
split
coming
second
quickly.
or two.
Yep.
Loss of 3, 2nd and 13. Honeycutt looking for time to throw the ball over the middle. Has his receiver.
Yeah,
it is Wilson again.
Yeah, makes up a few yards on that, and that was not a huge gain, but was really a positive play because the Cougars brought the house on that and really came after Hatch. It was a great job of him to get rid of that very quickly for a gain rather than taking a big loss.
And again, the Knights might be looking at this as 4-down territory. Trying to get on the scoreboard from the offensive standpoint before this game ends. Could be 4-down territory if they can make some yardage on this play. On a 3rd down play, Honeycutt wants to throw, pressured, now he throws it away, and he just throws it off the fingertips of Wilson that time. Looked like he was trying to throw it away, but Wilson ran under it and almost made a nice catch.
Yeah, it was great effort by him to not give up on the play and able to get underneath it. It was impressive that he was able to get close enough to even get a hand on it. And the Knights are going to kick it away.
And Laxton is out there to punt. It was Kessinger early in this game. Laxton the last few times has punted. Low snap.
Taken well.
Just got that one away.
Good kick.
And a fair catch by Corder at the 28 of Kean.
Yeah, great job by Laxton to pick that ball up essentially off the ground and still get it unblocked. You know, we were mentioning earlier on the touchdown that the Knights got, it was essentially that exact situation in reverse where it was a low snap that the kicker for Kean was unable to corral and get away before the block came in. Laxton able to do it in that case and avoid the block that the Cougars were not able to avoid earlier.
That was the play of the game for the Knights. Burnett blocking the punt, recovering the ball in the end zone before it ran out of the end zone. Mm-hmm. And it put the Knights back in the game offensively from a scoring standpoint, but also from a emotional standpoint.
Very true.
That is Dillingham getting up to around the 40-yard line for the Cougars.
You can see Joshua Davis in on that tackle, really well executed by him. He knew that the running back was going down, tried to rip that ball away.
This is just the 3rd home game of the season for the Knights, but they've only got one left. That's coming up in 2 weeks against Christopher Newport. So just 4 home games on this 2015 schedule for the Knights.
Yeah, it's difficult to be on the road so much as well. That always takes away from you just a little bit.
Yeah, they've had back-to-back road games, not back-to-back home games, though. Mm-hmm. And here is Matthews, and he runs to the right side and finds a lot of running room. Finally steps out of bounds, but he's going to pick up 20 yards or so.
And again, that's the benefit of fresh legs coming in for Kean versus Southern Virginia just wearing down after the longer this game goes.
Yeah, the Knights have rotated their running backs on entire series, whereas for Kean, quite often, a guy will run the ball for 10 or 15 yards and immediately come off the field, at least for a play or two.
Yep. It's a strategic difference of substitutions.
Cougars running clock now. This is Dillingham over the right side, and he is going to pick up about 11 yards before he is shoved back across the 30.
So the plays that were 2 or 3 yards in the first quarter and 3 or 4 in the second quarter that were 7 or 8 or 9 in the third quarter now stretching out to 11 or 12.
As you mentioned, Art, you see a lot of the first-team defense still out there for the Knights. Right there, Sam Malore.
Yeah, what an anchor for this defense he is. But, again, they spend so much time out there and in such difficult situations. It's just too much to ask. And they've scored the only points today.
29-yard line, and here is App giving off to Dillingham, and he'll pick up about 3 or 4 yards. So App has gone all the way at quarterback today for Kean.
Yep, Morgan Smith, great job getting into the backfield to stop that one. But yeah, surprising as well, certainly that App now well into the fourth quarter still in at quarterback.
And now they'll finally substitute for App and bring in Ryan Pangborn. He is a 6'2", 210-pound freshman from New Jersey. He's the backup quarterback, and he's into the game now. Under 4 minutes to go. It is Matthews, left side, turns the corner, and works his way inside the 15, down near the 10.
Well, it's difficult, Jim. It's now, as we mentioned, the clock continuing to run late in the fourth quarter here. It does not appear that the Knights offense is going to score today, certainly not twice. I'm not sure what you take from that going forward. It's difficult because they have had some successful drives, but it's difficult to feel that those drives have been successful when you end up with no offensive points on the board.
Well, tough to overcome, first of all, the field position that Kean's been blessed with today, and the lack of field position the Knights have had. A good defensive play there by Braxton Hale. It just shows you, Art, I guess, when you're struggling offensively and you're driving the football, you just cannot afford turnovers.
Yep, it's just those little mistakes that can negate so much good.
Hard to really demand or request a perfect game for the offense, but in some cases you almost have to play a near perfect game to beat a team like Kean when Kean has that kind of field position all game long.
Yeah, when what the Knights really need is they need balance across all 6 teams. Your kick return, your punt return, your offense, your defense, and that's just not something that they've been able to put together. So they've been leaning a lot on the defense because essentially whenever any of those areas collapse, it ends up that the defense is the one that shoulders that burden, and so it's.
But if you got a lot of the same defenders out there for all 4 quarters, and they're out there for a lot of minutes because the offense isn't picking up first downs, that really puts just an unrealistic burden, I think, on your defense.
Yeah, a lot of time, and again, I've mentioned several times, but that hurry-up offense just compounds that. You don't have the breaks in between plays to do that. It's just over and over and over again until they wear you down. It's also, I've heard the argument made that it's the same thing, that their first-string offense has been out there a lot, so it's essentially as much wear and tear on their offense as your defense.
Right.
But that's really not the case,
yeah.
Because the offense knows where the play is going every time. So even though theoretically you're supposed to put in 100% every time on offense, if you're a receiver that knows the ball's going the other way, you're not on high alert. You're not expending nearly as much energy to go out and get your defender to stay on you as the offense, or excuse me, as the defense is not knowing every time, thinking the ball could be coming his way.
Here's Pangborn handing off to Dillingham. Reverses his field, get to the 10-yard line that time. Well, the Knights, record-wise, will have a shot in their last 2 games. They'll be playing College of New Jersey on the road next Saturday at noon. And College of New Jersey came into the day with a 1-5 overall record. And then the Knights, 2 weeks from today, will be hosting Christopher Newport. And CNU is 1-6 overall.
Yeah, so as I was saying, they've played their more difficult teams so far this season. They've taken their shots, and certainly some opportunities left as it moves forward.
Just a matter of the Knights putting this one behind them, Art, in preparation for the final 2 games of the season, and including the final road game coming up at New Jersey next weekend as Matthews runs left side, and he gets to the 5-yard line.
Boy, I'm so impressed by this defense. It's continuing to hold. It's easy at this point to say, you know what, the game's done, let them punch it in and give the offense another shot, whatever. But there's just a lot of pride on this defense. They take every score seriously. They take every yard personally, and they don't want to give up anything.
Cougars now 5 yards away from another score, and the clock is ticking down, so even if the offense gets back on the field for the Knights, may not have a whole lot of time to work with, as Dillingham will try the right side, runs away from one defender, then hit from the backside. A couple of defenders there to make the play, including Andrew Bear. Scott Laxton initially had a shot at the running back. Looks like maybe Kean will go for another field goal.
Yeah. I just heard announced that's turnover on downs.
Yeah, turnover on downs. That's what's going to happen. So now the Knights will actually have it here. Are just not a whole lot of time to work with. 1:13 to go. And again, the offense has not been able to put any points on the board, and that's a long way to go in just 1:13.
Well, and job one is making positive yardage. Job one is taking something positive out of this drive now. It's 1st and 10 from the 5. Don't give up an interception. Don't give up a fumble. Don't lose points. Then second job is gain some yards.
Hatch got the start at quarterback. He was knocked out of the game 2 times on late hits. Honeycutt has been in to replace him. We've got a legal procedure to call against the Knights. Hatch was actually playing very well when he was knocked out of the game.
Yes, he was, Jim.
So after the penalty, ball back around the 2.
Yeah, it makes it even more precarious for the Knights.
Don't want to give up a safety here. Honeycutt will play it safe and hand the football off.
Forward progress will keep him out of the end zone.
But barely. Harris snowed under. Under 60 seconds to go in this football game.
Not sure why the clock's not running right now, Jim. Oh, there it was.
Ball near the 2. Honeycutt hands it off. No, keeps it, luckily, and runs upfield. Good gain by Sean Honeycutt all the way to the 27-yard line. I think if he gives that ball off to Harris, it's going to be 2 points the other way, but Honeycutt ends up picking up about 25 yards on that carry.
Yeah, smart play on that. Really kind of sold out on everybody cutting to the outside there and the defense buying in, and you can tell he wants to get this huddle in. He still wants to get points on the board.
Picked up 28 on that carry. Honeycutt hands it off to Harris up the middle. He's to the 40, and the safety man was there to stop him at the 47-yard line. Still a 17-yard gain, but a good tackle by Von Scott.
I don't know where this Knights offense has been the rest of the day, but they've been very impressive on the last couple of plays.
Yeah, the last 2 runs, they have picked up 45 yards. Last play of the game. Honeycutt to throw right side. Overthrows Carroll, incomplete, and that's the ball game.
Well, I was just saying it would be nice to round out with some positivity, and the Knights able to do just that, able to connect with a long run, a couple of them string them together for some good offense. That'll help the stat line look a lot better at the end of the game as far as offense, but that's minimal to mitigate the loss that the Knights pick up today.
And they end up losing this game 37-6. And you look at the things that really decided this game, Art. It was field position, good field position for Kean, bad starting field position for the Knights. A struggling offense can't afford turnovers. The Knights had a couple of critical turnovers in that first half on the Kean side of the 50-yard line when the Knights were driving. And not too many bad mistakes by the defense, but they did give up that 50-yard touchdown pass right before halftime. But the offense continues to struggle. Turnovers, those 2 turnovers really were critical.
Yeah, just a handful of bad plays, the turnovers being among them, a couple of blown coverages, but you're right, it only takes a few of those plays to make what could have been a very close game all of a sudden a 37-6 loss.
So Kean improves to 5-3, 4-3 in the New Jersey Athletic Conference, and the Knights now drop to 0-8 on the season, 0-7 in the conference, and they've got 2 more shots at a victory here in this 2015 season. The final road game coming up at College of New Jersey next Saturday at noon, and then 2 weeks from today, the final game of the season, a home game against Christopher Newport, Saturday, November the 14th at 1 o'clock. Both very winnable games, Art, for the Knights. College of New Jersey next week, CNU 2 weeks from today.
Yeah, some opportunities, but the Knights are... It's going to be tough to win games unless the Knights offense can really pull it together. The defense has done well today. Special teams scoring. Punt team not doing as well as they would have liked, but Jared Watt's really showing a lot of heart on kickoff return, punt return. Some great jobs by him and some of the other ones, John Harris as well.
Yep.
So they're putting some of the pieces together, but at the end of the day, you got to have some offense or it's tough to win ball games.
And a salute right there, if you can spot him in that crowd, number 7, Tristan Burnett, getting the points today for the Knights, blocking a punt and then scrambling to recover that punt in the end zone before it went out of the end zone for the one touchdown the Knights were able to get today.
Certainly a bright spot for them emotionally as well as obviously statistically, so great job by him.
So again, that'll wrap things up here from the fields at Southern Virginia University. Final score again today was Kean 37 and Southern Virginia 6. For Art Furler and all the crew, I'm Jim Bresnahan. Thanks again for joining us today, everyone.